One slow, steady breath. And as you slowly follow your breath and you contract those intrinsic muscles, as you follow your breath and you bring that breath all the way up to that pineal gland, and you hold your breath and you keep your attention on that pineal gland, that's your target. The act of contracting those muscles, along with the holding of your breath, would begin to push cerebral spinal fluid right up into your brain. And as you begin to hold your breath, you're pushing that cerebral spinal fluid right up against the crystals of the pineal gland and applying a mechanical stress. And then the mechanical stress begins to electrically activate those crystals. And when those crystals become electrically activated, we are turning on the radio receiver in the brain.
The light turned on inside me. The light appeared. The light of the pineal gland lit up just as it is described in so many old accounts.
Nicole Murphy just sent me a guy. He just followed God, man. He raised 11 of his lunar seeds. He raised his Christos in 11 seeds. He's normally right-handed. Now he can write cursive left-handed, and he writes backwards. And his eye open, he now sees, whether his eyes are open or shut, he sees the yellow and green light on the wall. He's illuminated. His body is healed. He has had like miracles.
Waking up in the morning, I saw a light on the wall. It was a violet-colored circular shape with a light yellowish color in the center of it. When I closed my eyes, I could still see it. But with my eyes closed, the light in the center becomes bright light green, surrounded by a purplish color. The light has been here ever since. And I want to make it clear, I don't have to go into a special meditative state to see it. I can see it whether my eyes are closed or open. I've now seen exact images of it everywhere, online, in ancient paintings, even in nature. It looks exactly like most images of the crown chakra, but mixed with the bright green color of the heart chakra in the middle. And the colors change shades and invert based on the light and whether my eyes are open or closed. It also looks exactly like the sun when it's surrounded by violet light. It really is an exact reflection of the sun. It comes alive in the evening. It starts to tingle and vibrate in the space between my eyebrows, sometimes even early in the day. But it really starts waking up and becoming active as evening approaches and it's starting to get darker out. Then at night, it's like a light show. It's very vibrant, active. The center of the circle widened. It became bigger and brighter. And I learned to look into the light, like looking into a flame. I could see images, like watching a video. But it's all in that same light greenish, yellowish color. So rather than just looking at the light, I learned to look into the light, like watching a screen. And I've since learned, by looking into the light, you can see whatever you intend to see. And some things you never intended to see. The light began to move into different shapes and patterns. It's always in movement. It's very similar to a flame. But it can stay in certain shapes for days or even weeks. I began to be able to see two eyes, one on each side of the light. I see them as a reflection of me, like I'm looking in a mirror and seeing my three eyes looking back at me. I usually have to close my eyes and look for them, and then I can see them. I've never gotten sick since the light appeared. It feels like I can't get sick. I started drawing with my left hand. I could never draw anything with either hand. But what felt like overnight, I could all of a sudden draw anything with my left hand. I decided to try writing with my left hand. I tried to write one paragraph every day with my left hand. On my first attempt, I was able to write backwards from right to left. So when it's held up to a mirror, everything is written properly, including all punctuation. It flowed smoothly without even trying from the first attempt. And here I did it without even thinking. I've continued writing that way ever since. And I even wrote an entire notebook backwards, with drawings included, starting from the back going all the way to the front. I started writing cursive with my left hand, backwards of course. I was so grateful that I was prepared for it. I used every single tool I had in my arsenal, every single meditation breathwork technique I've learned to get me through it. I was so grateful that I've learned to ground myself in the body and send the energy back down. I don't know what I would have done if that happened all at once in the beginning without going through all the steps of the awakening journey that I've been on. At the same time, it felt great. My whole skull was vibrating, and it was the most beautiful light show I could ever imagine. It was like a waterfall going in reverse. A big, thick waterfall of violet-colored light going up, and mixed in that violet color were tiny little bubbles, every color of the spectrum. I kept pulling the energy up, and it just kept bursting up into the skull. And I could see everything that I can usually see in front of me with my eyes closed. But now I can see through the top of my skull, all above my head. We can use the light from the pineal gland the same way we use any flashlight to see better in the dark. It's good news for all of us. Everything good that's ever been said about the divine light of God, the power of God, it's all true. What we call God is always right here and all around and inside everything. It's in the space between everything. It's in the silence. God is the silent space between and inside everything. And I've always known that. I never had any doubt. Since I was a child, I've always felt the light of God inside me. The only difference is now I can see it. I always felt the divine light inside me, and now I can see it. Stay alert and stay awake. We'll talk again soon.
All right, we're here with our sage. Brother, thanks so much for reaching out to me. I'm going to get your story. It's really great you did. As you know, I've been putting out a lot of videos about raising the Christos and the lunar and the solar seed. And I've been really questioning. I know this is the secret of all secrets. I haven't done anything like this. I've been questioning, is this real? And some people have heard me talk about you with Anaya, the science witch. Nicole Murphy, our friend, sent me an audio of you, and you have done this. You have raised your Christos and 13, I think, seeds so far. And it's just remarkable what you've done. So people who are watching now will have just seen that little 6-minute video that you sent me. But welcome, man. How are you, brother? Welcome.
Thank you. Well, thanks for having me. I appreciate it. I really appreciate this opportunity, because this is actually the first time I've been able to speak to somebody who knows about it. Not just knows about it, you know more than me about it. And well, you understand the process better, you can explain the process better, but I've only thus far I've communicated with some people online. I've spoken typed back and forth, and that was like such a liberating thing, to communicate with people who know about it and practice it and teach it. But this is the first time I've ever talked to somebody about it. Meaning, anytime I've talked about it, I'm explaining it to someone who's never heard about it. And I've only told like 4 people, I believe. I've told like 3 close friends, and my wife.
I was going to ask
the whole time,
how are they receiving that? Do you sound like a crazy, or how does that go down?
Well, that's a great question. My friends have been like very receptive to it. Like, oh, so what do I do? What do I do? Because I tell them, like, my wife has been more, making fun of me, and as a wife does, but no, she knows too. I mean, she teaches yoga, she teaches breath work and stuff, and she's like, very knowledgeable about everything. And she is really into fasting as well. But of course, she doesn't want, a wife can never let their husband be right? That's never happened in history, right? So,
a husband's only right when the wife is out shopping, man. But so that's cool. So yeah, I got the feeling I got the feeling you were already into like yoga and breath work, and you already were half the way there. Exactly, what I found really flattering, which is funny, is you said that I think you said that I turned you on to this process, which is because I don't even know it or totally fully do it. So I thought it was really ironic that you're like, you're the guy who like got me into this. But I wanted to, we'll get into that later, because people who do this work through historical times, it's very hard to be around society when you get into this level that we're going to talk about, that you're launching into. It's hard to be around normal people, even your wife, and she's even into this. Imagine if you had like a normal wife who wasn't even into all this stuff, you know. So I'm going to ask you later, like, how is this affecting your personal life? Because I think this comes, well, let me ask you this. What's happened to you so far, which we'll get into, and they've just seen a bit of it, a taste of it. What's happened to you so far, do you think this is for everyone, or do you think, like, with great power comes great responsibility? Is there a warning that once you go down this path, you don't come back, right? Like, can you tell me, tell me, well, maybe we're even shooting the gun, but tell me a little bit, how has your life, like your normie life, changed in the last 13 months since you've been raising these seeds?
Well, that was all great questions. I mean, it's completely life-changing, completely. The only thing that I had is what you kind of brought up, is that I was already on this path. I was already been awakening into, opening up into more expanded consciousness. I say opening up, not like really raising up, just opening up to consciousness. So I've already been on a journey for a long time. So that helped, obviously, but of course, it's completely different. And again, for all positive, it's all positive, you know, it's all great. But of course, you're right. But I think everyone can relate to anyone that's like waking up, because we are all waking up, you know, more and more. Humanity is waking up. Everyone's waking up to different things. And yeah, once you do awaken, you can't go back. They say that with everything about awakening process, right? Because now you can't just go back to being, I'm sure it's possible.
It's like the Matrix, right? Once you're unplugged from the Matrix, which you are now way unplugged, brother. So yeah, it's like you can't go back into the Matrix. But that's my question is, what's it like
you can't
living in
like
the Matrix?
No, it's a great question, because I'll just say that the unique thing about my experience, because other people have done this throughout history, I've now discovered, you know, through research. I'm talking exact thing. Some of the exact accounts describe it like exactly how I would. But the unique thing about my experience that we can all really learn from is that I'm doing this in today's society. I'm not a monk, you know, up there on the hill, you know, and I'm going to the grocery store with my wife. And I mean, you know, we're shopping around, we're going to the mall, we're going to the farmer's market. We're in today's society. We have, you know, Wi-Fi and social media and everything. So it's an opportunity for us to see it work, you know, in today's society. So that's good. But yeah, that was what I would say is the strangest thing, is that it's like I'm living in today's society. I'm doing normal things that we all do, but then also I'm like blasted with light. You know, it's all open. And so it is a difficult balance, and that has been difficult. But thankfully, I've been able to navigate it through, like, keeping myself grounded and learning the hard way too. You know,
you seem really balanced.
So,
and like
it's a great question. I do think it's for everybody, though.
Aren't you in like a little small apartment in a city? Like you say, you're not up in a mountaintop in a cave. Like, you're really like,
this is exactly,
right?
Exactly. This is what I want to say. Like, I'm going to give you where I started from so that everyone can judge it accurately. And I'm not, of course, if I were isolated, you know, away from Wi-Fi, away from cell towers, away from all this EMF, all these terrible frequencies we're being blasted with, then it would be much easier. But I still have the same obstacles that we all have. Like, I mean, like I said, I'm in one of the biggest cities in the world. So, and I'm in an apartment complex, so they're blasting, you know what I mean? People have Wi-Fi on right now, Bluetooth, 5G, everything, a million devices right now going. I mean, countless
Are
devices
you
in
more
this room.
sensitive to
And
these?
yeah,
now?
we're just in a small, we're not like in a big house on a farm, huh?
I was going to ask, are you more sensitive to these frequencies now? Can you see them or feel them more than you did a year ago before
Absolutely.
this? Yeah.
Absolutely. That's a great question too, because I'm way more sensitive to, well, everything, especially just energy in general. But because even for this, I have been setting everything up with the lights and stuff. And like like the last couple of nights, I've been kind of like, setting up the lights and messing with it. So there's like way more lights on, way more devices I'm surrounded by. And I'm feeling almost, you get sort of a headache, in the last days I never get. So way more. And then, that's one thing too, where you asked, like living here with my wife, I'm like, as soon as the light like really came on, I started saying like, look, we have to turn the lights off, like at least by 10 p.m. We have to have the lights off. You know what I mean? I can't. So she's all like, man, it's all so dark in here. But it's a big thing. Yeah. I mean, the head is holy. So this is why, I always wear like, something over my head, but also it's very sensitive to light. Now, the pineal gland is very sensitive to light. It can sense light, but it's sensitive to that. So I get blasted by light for sure.
Well, it's interesting you say that, because when I just look back in time, the Muslims and all the holy people, they're always wearing head garb, all of them. So it's interesting you say that.
In every religion.
Right. So is that why?
Because this is holy. This is holy. This is the tent. Yeah.
Yeah, that's
exactly. It's in every religion. It's like
kind of makes you think about the advent of hats, doesn't it? Like, who invented hats? Like, maybe it's for that. Even the Mad Hatters. Remember the people were going mad?
I know,
they were
because
putting lead in their hat.
I agree. That's like, and my experience has been unique, where no one told me that, like, oh, you have to do this. You start to naturally learn. You start to realize, oh man, this is I don't want this just exposed so much. Number one, don't get me wrong. I don't always, sometimes, but it's just something that you want to cover it when it's everything. When you learn about the skull, it's not just a cement helmet, or we just like hit around. It's so intricate. It's so perfectly designed. And there are holes up here, you see when you learn all the bones, when you learn everything is sacred and everything is designed in such a holy, perfect way. And these are the temple. This is the temple, right? This is the temple. This is sacred. So it's like,
well, even like as Joe just talking about, when you breathe, when you breathe and your sacrum bone works with the head, the sutures in your skull actually open a little as that energy is coming up. Your skull breathes. Like you're saying, people think it's cement, but the sutures, the reason you have cracks in your skull is because it actually breathes. It moves when this energy comes up, as we'll get into.
Exactly. And when you study it more, you learn more and more. Yeah, it's not just this rock on your head, and the spine too. We think of the spine as like, just crank it around like it's this physical thing. The spine it's the roots of the brain. It's the roots of the skull. But there's intelligence going up and down. There's energy sending up and down. It's an extension of the brain. It's an extension of the brain. So all these things aren't just this physical thing to be, cracked around and banged around. This is, like you said, it breathes, it moves. It's like, it's so, when you get into even like the top of the skull, like, it's designed, it's just so much, there's so much to it. There's so much more than I knew. Again, I've learned all this in the last year, but at a rapid rate.
It's like the toroidal field,
and then you start looking at the bone.
Yeah, the kids have the colic. When we're children, we have a toroidal spin at the colic there. You can see where the energy's coming.
Yeah, the spiral right here. That's exactly.
We all have it.
That's the top of the hyperbola.
And we have
all of it. Yeah, all of it matches up.
And we have, remember, when their babies are like, be careful because it's still soft up there. The skull's still soft. It's like, yeah, there's a reason.
Exactly.
You would think as a baby,
there's a reason.
Baby,
like holes up here. They're holes.
Yeah, a hole.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I think we're getting ahead. So like.
Yeah.
So the people from our channel, from Space Busters, they know they've seen all the Christos videos. So you've done it. We're going to show it too. Like I said, I don't want to make you act like a circus monkey and like, show me this trick, but you said you're willing, which is great, but take me back. So you've done 13 of these now. Take me back to how did you find out about this information? And then how did you find out how to do it? Because I've been looking. And I think I'm a part of you finding out about it. And you figured out how to do it.
Big time.
Can you just take us back?
You are, yeah. I'll tell you the whole.
Yeah, tell me the story. Like, how did this happen?
I'll give you the full introduction here. So, my background to understand. I had my first spiritual awakening. Interestingly enough, at age 33. Was where I first became like spiritual, started to be like, I started to become spiritual. And this is when I got into like stretching and stuff like that and like working, and that came about because I have had quite a bit of health problems. I mean, to say the least. I had, since an infant, I had massive health problems. And so by the time I was 30, I was in very, very bad condition. So I started to, go ahead.
Are you an Aries? Did you say what's your sign? What's your sign?
Yeah, I'm an Aries. Yeah.
And what kind of health problems did you have? Did you have Aries related health problems with the nervous system and what kind of health problems? Unless that's too personal.
Well, it's a great question. And again, we might be getting ahead of ourselves, but from you, I learned cell salts. I never heard about cell salts, right? The first time I ever heard you on a podcast, you talked about the cell salts. And I started to learn about cell salts through there. And then it's like, now I haven't taken them yet, by the way. But when you were describing it, it's like, what is the okay, so the 3 cell salts that I would be deficient in, as they say, like the 3 signs would be Taurus, Gemini, Cancer, I believe, right?
Yes, the ones after you're born, because you would have been 9 months backwards.
Right.
Correct. Yeah.
So then you're explaining it, and as I look into it, confirm it, it's like, it would mean that I would have problems with the jaw, the neck and throat, shoulders, and stomach.
And maybe some lungs too, yeah.
And these are all the places. These are all the places that I've had issues. And I was like, wow, that's interesting. And then I also looked at my wife's, any symptoms when you're explaining it. And that matches exactly too. She's a Leo. And I'm like, I started to look into the symptoms where, at least where you're going to have issues, you say. I mean, you know much better than me. But I find that pretty not a coincidence. So yeah, when I was a baby, I had real problems with my stomach. They literally cut me open right when I was a baby, like an infant. I had like major surgery, something extremely Another thing, without getting into all the details of what my health situation is, everything that has happened to me is extremely rare, one of a kind things, including with the light, so this is not even the most, rare thing that has happened for me in my life. It just always happens. So that's interesting too.
So you saw my work. So how did you get into the Christos? Was it me you learned it through, or where did you hear about?
Okay. Yeah. So I'll get to that. Yeah. So what happened was I started studying the unconscious when around, age 33. I started studying the unconscious because this is how I helped my health problems, because I learned about repressed emotions and the unconscious and stuff. Actually, the work of Dr. John Sarno was amazing stuff, like, learning about the mind body connection and stuff, and repressed emotions and how they affect our health. So I became an expert on that in an effort to try to cure myself. So I first studied the unconscious for a really long time. And then I got into the subconscious, where, you start to read Dr. Joseph Murphy, I believe he is, right? The Power of the Subconscious Mind and stuff like that. Maybe people know. And then, like visualization, law of attraction, and all that stuff. I became like really, really into that, using visualization and affirmations. So I studied the subconscious. So then in 2019, which was like 7 years ago exactly, I started to do a daily, I just decided to start doing like a regular breathing routine. Just didn't know how to do anything. Just when I wake up, I don't know, I'm waiting for the coffee, I would just do like a breathing, in and out. And then I really took to that and just started doing it on my own, just breathing in and out. Just like for 5 minutes, then it would grow. So I started to get more into meditation. So then I found the Tao Te Ching, the book of the way. So I found that and I started really studying that. And so this was the consciousness. So I studied the unconscious, the subconscious, and the consciousness. So I started getting really into the meditation and breath work and consciousness. This was like the last thing. So then in 2022, I found the work of Eckhart Tolle, the Power of Now, the New Earth and stuff. I don't know if you know about him. So, this was like a huge piece of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you've been like awake longer than me, all this stuff, because, yeah. So that's good. You know about it. Yeah. He's, so once I wasn't even like halfway through the Power of Now, and I learned to again, because of my meditation practice, I had done it. I do it every day, but because of that, I was able to, I think, faster. He also is talking about everything is connected. So he's talking about the unconscious too. So I saw another side of the unconscious, and, the autonomic nervous system and automatic and stuff. So everything was connected that I was studying. So I learned quickly to be able to stop thinking anytime I wanted, to stop the stream of thoughts. Again, with work, not magic, just work, following the work of Eckhart Tolle. So I learned to be fully present. So I'm saying this because since 2022, I've been living in the present. I'm like very conscious, very present. Again, with work, I learned everything. So, and then I studied his work back and forth. And then I started to begin, like in 2023, I started to create a platform to teach the unconscious, subconscious, and conscious. So, so I put it as like the automatic mode, the creative mode, and the awareness mode, to make it, my goal has always been to teach people who wouldn't normally be into this kind of stuff, just to teach it to anyone. So I was getting really ready for that. And then in October 2023, after Israel, the Zionists, took off their mask and showed the world what they were and started going crazy and started just going full force and show us all who they are. This like really threw me for a loop, obviously, as it just upset me so much that, this was happening. So I kind of stopped focusing so much on anything else, but I just wanted to start learning more about it. Now I had seen what they've been doing since 2021, actually. I didn't know the extent of it, but I learned what they were doing with their, ripping little kids, beating up little kids and ripping them out of their home, beating up old ladies and just kidnapping people and, holding them hostage and torturing them and just horrific acts. So this made me, I started to study. I realized I didn't know anything about how the world works. Zero. Everything I thought how the world works was not how it works. So I was like, okay, I'm going to start from scratch. I'm going to start from zero. I knew nothing. Everything I thought was not accurate, not correct. So I started to like massively study the history of the Zionists and what happened, so that I would understand it, you know? And so then, and actually I want to say, I really appreciate you and really respect you, because this is how I always described you to my wife, like who I talk about. I go, you know, I listen to that guy. You know, the guy I always talk, because the thing I always respected about you is that anytime I heard you on a podcast, even if the subject was not about that, nothing to do with it, you would always, every single podcast I ever heard you on, I heard you on anyone that's available, you always bring that up and say, look, we can't, you know, this is genocide, man. We can't have this, you know, we can't have mass slaughter of human beings. Now, of course, we don't deserve an award for that. It just means we're human. But what I noticed is you, and of course, I listen to plenty of people are, of course, raising the alarm. But with you, the difference was the subject is not even about that. No matter what you're talking about, you would do it. And I mean, it's disappointing that the hosts, some of the hosts you would do, you see the silence. They're like, because, you know, I understand they're afraid. They don't want, you know, they don't want to get in trouble. But you'd go, right? You guys know what I'm talking about? There's a genocide going on, and we can't have this. From the beginning, you were saying that. And I was like, nice, right on. This guy, he's like saying, like, you fit it in where it doesn't even fit, like I'm doing right now. I'm doing this because of you, because this isn't what it's about. But we cannot sit here while they're slaughtering human beings. If we accept that ever, for any reason, none of us are safe. You know, I mean, it's simple. And they're doing it in the Congo and Sudan, just slaughtering massive groups of human beings. And clearly the people in power, they're cool with it. They're telling us we're okay with this. And if we're okay with that, we go like, they won't do it to me, then we have no chance. And I want to, my goal is to, you know, I'm with humanity. We're one. We're one thing. We're the whole. You and I, we make up the whole of humanity. We all make up the whole of humanity. And if we're like, yeah, that's okay, So anyway, it should be obvious to anyone that hasn't lost their humanity. I'm saying, you know, and there's no excuse. So anyway, I do always respect you for that, because I even heard you on a podcast recently, an old one, and there you were again, bringing it up, fitting it in, just like I'm doing. It's not about anything, but you go, hey, by the way, you know, we can't have this. Did you have a genocide? You know what's going on, right? And the hosts are like, silence, you know. So I'm like, that's a shame, but so I'm bringing it up now. But it pertains because this is what led me to it. I'm bringing this up for a reason. This is what led me to it. Because what happened was I started to learn the history of Zionism and how did this start? And then you run into the Rothschilds, and then you start going up the ladder of the conspiracy. This is what I call the conspiracy. You know, those who know, you know more than me. The conspiracy is not a bunch of little conspiracies. They're all connected to one big conspiracy, you know, right? So as I started to go up the ladder, up the pyramid, shall we say, after that, I started, you know, you run into the Freemasons. You started to run into Freemasonry. And so I listened to a book, an audio book of one of a rare one, like the 33 Degree Knowledge or something. One you can't even get on Amazon, but I found an audio of it. So I listened to the book and I'm like, well, this is a book of meditation. Is this the right book? This is a book of like breathing and meditation. Like, this is the secret the Freemasons are hiding. What is this about? And everything was just like, it was like a step-by-step meditation book. So I was like, that's interesting. And I guess since I'm on that algorithm, I saw a short by the Book of Wisdom guy, the Harry B. Joseph, he goes by. So I saw like a perfect short on the sacred secretion. And he was like, this is what the Freemasons do. They do this and that. This is what they're hiding. And this now. I'm like, wow, that's interesting. Yeah, there you go. There you go. I have it in digital form. Yeah,
it's all in there, man.
Yeah, and I just see you teach right out of it. Yeah, it's all in there. And actually, he is. I know. There's a discrepancy. He gets his information from other people, like Julio Castro, who's absolutely brilliant, who wrote the Hearth book. Brilliant. That guy's like, so he's brilliant. But that Harry B. Joseph is good at presenting all the information. He's good at teaching it. And so I have to give him credit too. Because I've learned a lot. And yeah, he's dead on, like a lot of explanations, you know. So anyway, yeah, so that's where I first heard about it. And then I was like, wow, I'll try that out, because I'm after consciousness and I'm after, you know, brain cognitive function. So I'm like, yeah, but I found it pretty interesting that, you know, I started out so into consciousness, conscious awareness, and that's like my life, presence and conscious awareness, and consciousness. And then I went away from it, you know, and I went on this path of learning. And what do I find at the end? It comes back to consciousness, because
it brings you right back.
At the top of it all, it's a war on our consciousness. Yeah.
This is what it is.
At the heart of it. Right. So it's all connected. So this was the journey of like learning. And then, yeah, so I found that fascinating, but I was like, interesting. I go all full circle and I come back and look what's waiting for me there. Consciousness, conscious awareness. So then, then right after that one, I was kind of looking for stuff. And like you said, it's hard to find stuff. There is so much information out there. There is out there, thankfully, but it's very difficult because it's suppressed for obvious reasons, right? So then I saw one short with Santos Bonacci at a cafe. It's just a short, and he just like, it looked like, I didn't know who he was. And it was just like, it looked like they just walked up on a random stranger and the guy's like, yeah, and he can explain it so well. So he explained it. I was like, who is that guy? Who's this Australian guy with this that understands this so well? Because he's just chilling at a coffee shop and he just turned to the camera. He's like, yeah, what you do is, you know, the brain goes down and you come back up, and what you got to do is this. I was like, so it turns out this was in October of 2024. It turns out that I had just missed the Aries moon. So I had time to prepare. So I started to like try to find anything I could and get ready. And I started in November, 2024. And I didn't hear you yet, but what happened was about like 2 months in, I was searching podcasts, and then you talked about it, like, and you did it in such a non-woo-woo way, which is what I'd like for us to do in this conversation, because I could easily go way out there and tell you all this crazy stuff. I mean, mind-blowing stuff that's real, but like we could get way out there, but I want to normalize this. I want to normalize the pineal gland. I want to normalize the third eye and the third ear, all this, because you know better than me the science behind it, the biology behind it, and the process. You can explain it much better than me. And I just we all know parts of this. We all know it. This is all stuff. This is not like, you know, there are pieces of it everywhere. And we all know it, and we all actually do some of it, you know. So in this talk, I'd like to just try my best to speak in a non-woo-woo way about a very woo-woo thing. If we could just use that, you know.
Well, it's not woo-woo. That's
but I appreciated that learning.
This is just normal shit that people used to know. It's not woo-woo. We've just been, that's, like you said, when you start going up the global or the world, not global, but world conspiracy, this is what they're hiding. And this is what I've been after. That's why I was fascinated. Exactly. You reached out, because you figured it out. Okay, so go. Sorry to interrupt. So then how did you find this? Because Santos is where Santos turned me on to the Zodiac Salts of Salvation, and I found George Carey and Perry through that. And, you know, I was same thing as you. I was like, what the hell is this? And I started, and like David Lynch said, the guy who made Twin Peaks, David Lynch said, he did a speech, and he said, when you have a golf ball sized consciousness and you read a book like the Bible or any book, you take or even Eckhart Tolle, you take away a golf ball sized understanding of that book. But later, when you have an ocean sized consciousness and you read that same book, I had the same problem. I was reading like Walter Russell back in 2006 when I was just waking up. I didn't get it at all. I was like, what the hell is this? Now I can read Walter Russell and be like, oh, you know, you need to come back with a fuller body of knowledge, and you start taking away. And it's like that with the George Carey books and these esoteric books. You know what? I can read a book now that 20 years ago I wouldn't have got it. So I know what you mean. Like it's like a process to
for sure. Yeah. Same thing. Because I didn't know about this when I read Eckhart Tolle. I mean, like back and forth. But now I understand that. See, Eckhart Tolle, he talks about oil in the Bible as consciousness. He doesn't come out and say this exact thing. But even when I was reading his books, I was like, why is he always teaching? Like he teaches like straight out of the Bible. So many times he uses it, but he talks about the oil in the lamp, the light in the lamp, and he talks about it as consciousness. So now, like just as you said, now I can go back and go, oh yeah, that's exactly same thing with the Tao Te Ching, the Book of the Way. It's like now I've heard it. I mean, because I play the audio so many times, I've heard it. I mean, countless times, maybe 1,000 times now. But now I will go back and I go like, oh yeah, I get it. Like even deeper understanding, because so everything is saying the same thing. All these ancient holy books, they're all saying the same thing, and it's everywhere. I mean, they carve it into mountains. They carve it into, so many different things in the pyramids and all that. So, yeah. So basically, and again, I'm living consciousness is like my field of study and field of, everything I write about and teach about or talk about. So, of course, I was going to try it. I'm like, oh, yeah, this sounds interesting. I want to test this out. But yeah, so I just started searching for then I would hear it was even hard to find Santos Bonacci, even like searching for him. That's the sad part of how much all this information is suppressed. Now he's out there more, but I was still like, who is this guy who's doing this? But I was just learning from him, like you said, like I was listening to his lectures and stuff specifically about that. And then I just looked anywhere I could. And then again, I'm pretty advanced with like the breathing techniques and stuff, because, I do pretty advanced breath work, you could say, so, and I'm consciously breathing. I'm aware of my breath all day long. I'm really staying present all day long and making an effort to do that, built that into my life. So it was pretty natural for me to start it, but I didn't know all the stuff. Probably the first 2 times I just tried to fast as much as I could, but I didn't have the diet right. But what I did was when I started it, I did something that was very beneficial. Is I did start, thankfully, having a journal about it. And so when I was done with the first one, I was like, okay, I started writing like, this is things that worked and felt good, and these are the things that didn't work. So here's what I can improve on. I started to write like, what can I improve on? And just trying to find as much as I could. And again, I might have even found the first time I heard you, even before the second time I did it, I found it pretty early on, a talk you gave. And I was like, oh, finally we have something, because you really broke down the process. And again, you did it in like a realistic way for our society. So I actually even like shared that with a friend that I had told about it right away, because he was like trying to start doing it too. So I was like, oh, look at this. This is finally, we have something here. And then I started looking you up more, and I found a lot more from you, because you really explained it well. And then from either you or Santos Bonacci, I found God Man Made Flesh. And also from Santos
George
Bonacci,
Washington Carey and
the Perfect Matrimony.
Yeah. That's where this all is.
That's
but that's still pretty encrypted, man. Like when you read it, it's not. I'm a Virgo.
I know, yeah.
How, like you're saying, I'm a Virgo. I come out and just say it, but that book doesn't. It's still They say it, but not really. So that's what I've been looking for, is someone like you, where you're like, how does this really work? And we'll get into that. Yeah, I don't want to like talk for 3 hours about it, because I'd like to fast forward. So even when you start you understand how this works biochemically, physically, electromagnetically, astrotheologically, like you get it. But there's still a lot of like discussion, which I want to get into, because when I was talking to Anaya, first of all, one of the times you need to start doing what I want you to give us details. When the moon is in your sun sign, there's a debate. Is it your tropical sun sign, or is it the other one? So
yeah.
So you're using the tropical system. I use like Nicole Murphy's
Yes.
law of the luminaries.
Yeah,
So
there you go.
that's what I know. Moon's in Virgo on the 13th and 14th. So I'm not using sidereal system.
Yeah.
I'm using tropical instead of sidereal. And you're using tropical as well, right?
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. And I understand. Believe me, I understand because again, like when I entered into this, I'm all in on it. I mean, I do everything that I can think to do. This is just how I am. And like this is why I get the results that I do, because I'm living it, you know? It's not an accident that this happened. I'm just doing everything that I can to do this. So I was in the beginning, especially, I was like, how do I, and then even when I first heard your talk and you started saying, oh no, there's like different things. And like, you know, you also told me about Nicole Murphy. I never heard about that. I heard that from you. So I started to go, oh, great. So now I could be having the wrong days. Great. I thought it was already, you know, a big enough task. I was like, oh, great. So now I have to get it exactly right. What's going to happen? But Nicole Murphy and Santos Bonacci make it very clear that the tropical system, it doesn't change. And it's based on, you know, like where the sun, to me, it seems obvious that, I mean, it's just like, I try to keep it as simple as possible for anyone. It's just where the sun was when you're born. When the moon is in the position the sun was when you were born, this is the time where we have an opportunity to rejuvenate ourselves. You know, we have this opportunity.
It matters not.
Don't get me wrong. Now that I've talked
behind the sun, that's the difference. In sidereal, they're saying, well, beyond the sun, what constellations there? That matters not. It matters really in the actual physical sky from where you are. If the sun was right there when you were born, then the moon has to be right there when you were born. If the stars behind the sun
exactly
were here when you were born, but now the stars behind the sun are over here, but the sun's still here, it doesn't matter. The moon needs to be over here. My screen's backwards. The moon has to be where the sun was, literally.
You're right.
It doesn't matter what's in the background. You can have a picture of fucking like Chairman Mao. Exactly. It doesn't matter what constellation.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's where the sun and the moon really literally are angularly to your position. That's what Carrie and them talk about. When you're born and you come out of the womb, the sun synthesizes your blood the first time you come out into here. So it doesn't matter what picture was behind the sun. It matters where was the actual sun.
Exactly.
That's the difference. Yeah,
exactly.
So
and
you're having like,
I learned that from Nicole Murphy. Yeah.
And you're actually having success with it, which is great. That's been one of the debates is it,
that's why I know.
Is it tropical? So, you know, that's why I'm really glad you reached out. I was really happy.
That's the thing.
Because I found you. Nicole Murphy sent me just a little 20-minute audio. She's like, check this dude out. He's done this. And I was like, holy shit, man, I've been looking for this guy. And then you heard me talk about you on another podcast, and then you reached out, and I was like, great, let's talk about this. So, okay. Just let's try to fast forward a little bit, because I don't want to go 9 hours here, but so you figured it out. So then you found like Dr. Joe Dispenza, and you found this School of Breath. So you were already into like breath work, and then you found Carrie's work. So you're now on 13 cycles. You've raised, like you can raise the Christos all the time, but you're raising what I think is called the lunar germ. I've talked about this in a few talks. There's a difference, but so you started to do it. So,
like the seed and everything, right?
Yeah. So, and I'll post the videos at the end of our talk showing people what's going on physically, biochemically, medically, scientifically behind this. So we don't have to get into that. There's a lot of people who would like to get into this, and they want to know what's going on. So you're Aries. So when you first started this, so you figured out that when the moon would be in Aries in tropical, not sidereal, right? So then talk me through how you found out and what
that's
talk me through like how you started this and what you did.
Okay. And it can be more simple. I know that we can get overwhelmed like, but what, because now a lot of people have asked questions, and I am talking to people online and stuff, and you see it in the comments of these things, that there is a confusion because we get overwhelmed. It's not that difficult, really, if we just keep everything simple. But basically what I was doing in the very beginning was I was checking all different sites. I didn't have one thing and like narrowing it down. And you can also go by like, I don't know, you can start with like the full moon. Everyone agrees when the full moon is what sign it's in. That can keep it easy, but I'll give you an easier way to do it. And again, Nicole Murphy can show people how to know it yourself. It's easy. I just want to say on the sidereal thing, I'm not saying I'm not discounting sidereal, because I've heard people, they follow sidereal and they say they get results. So if you're getting results, that's fine, but that's great. Keep doing it. I just feel like if you can figure out where the sun was when you were born with sidereal, then do it. But it has so much to do with the sun and the moon, So I feel like it's obvious. And again, with my experience, I know I'm talking about, it's like clockwork. And by the way, interestingly enough, the moon I'm fasting right now. As we speak, I'm fasting. The moon is in Aries. It's probably leaving Aries very soon. So that was kind of interesting too, because I've been fasting now for 3 days. My third day.
So let me ask.
So this is my 14th time, is what I'm saying.
So the moon will be in Aries, usually 2 to 2.5 days, something like that, or any sign really depends.
Yeah, it's like 2.5 days.
So do you pre-fast before you come in, or do you kind of warm up into the fast? Tell me your fasting protocol. And when you say fast,
exactly,
do you mean fast like no food, or do you mean a little?
No, a little. Now, I look at it now because, again, I've learned so much. I learned something every day, but I learned pretty early on to look at the whole moon cycle. This is why I don't panic about what time and day. I know everyone wants to, like, what do I have to do? What do I do? When does it start? What do I have to do? I look at the full moon cycle now. So like the 28 and a half, 29 days, right? So this process is really about closer to a 7-day process, meaning when it starts and then it's done. And it makes sense. It's not just like three days and then everything back to normal. You ease into it and you ease out, So obviously during that 3-day period right there, you want to be really tight and disciplined. This is what I do. During the 3 days, it's like the moon is in your sun sign. However, and by the way, the good thing is I've seen now confirmation. Everyone else is saying the same thing that has online, that has been doing it, that they feel it coming like 3-4 days before. You feel it 2 signs before coming. So, and especially me, which I could get into because it's Aquarius is 2 before me. And so now every single time I can feel when the moon's in Aquarius, like I get alerted to it. I'm alerted. I am forced to know when the moon is in Aquarius, which I could explain. So crazy. I get blasted by it, but I can feel when it's just, think of it as 3-4 days before the process. You start to feel like you might feel like agitated. You might feel more annoyed. Same thing like when, full moon is around. You might get depressed. You might get angry. I mean, my wife always says, like, even said to say on this, like, so tell them, like, I get kind of like, I get agitated. You get angry. She's like, yeah, what are you, secretioning now? Make a joke. You're like, yeah, because you get me. I'm like, no, I don't get me. She's she's rough on me.
That's like you asking her if she's got PMS because she's menstruating. Now she's asking you if you're secretioning.
Exactly, and it's a perfect description, because we know that the moon affects a woman's menstrual cycle. They used to call it, in some cultures, they do call it the moon cycle, a woman's moon cycle. So if we know that if we know that the moon has a strong effect on a woman's menstrual cycle, which also controls when she can give birth and makes her bleed, and it does these things in the body. So we know that the moon affects us so much. For anyone who's thinking like, oh, it's like, what do you think the menstrual cycle is? And it's exactly the same, it's the same amount of time as the moon cycle.
It's the magnetism in the
so yeah, the
in
same
blood,
way.
Yeah.
There you go. I mean, you're the one
who
knows all the,
it's the ferrum iron.
You know all
it's
that.
The iron in the blood. It's magnetism. The moon's magnetic. The sun's electric. So that's what's causing all that. That's why we all go crazy too. Yeah. But anyway, sorry to cut you off. Go on.
Right. No, that's okay. That same thing. Yeah. So just like a woman's menstrual cycle, I'm bringing that up for a reason, is like they feel it coming on, a few days before. And then there's a peak period and then it fades away, right? It's the same. It really is the same thing. So if you look at it like, let's just say a moon cycle is about 28 days around, to get technical, but around 28 days, right? So that's 4 weeks. So then, you have like your 7-day period. This is an important period because this is when I've had the big awakenings happen before it. 3-4 days, every single time, like clockwork, when the moon is in Aquarius. And then the 3-day period is when you want to be really, really strict. And again, if I played it safe, this is how I did it. So, and this is how I continue to do it. So like that 7-day period, I'm going to be like really alkaline diet, like strictly alkaline. So I follow that. That's in God, Man, Made Flesh. That's AI has told me that. By the way, during this whole thing too, I had 2 different AIs tools working. I had ChatGPT and DeepSeek AI, the Chinese one, where they have access. It has access to ancient Chinese books that and knowledge that other ones don't. So I had those 2 working with me during this too. So I've learned a lot through that. And actually, through that is when I started to look at the full moon cycle, because they knew all about this process, by the way. At least they have all the information. So there's massive, massive information. And I actually did save some things from our conversations to read if we have time for that too. It confirms everything I'm saying. And there are exact accounts, and they give their theories as to what's happening, their explanations, and it's just everything is confirmed of what's going on. So from that, I learned now I'm synced up with the moon, is what I'm saying. Like the secretion period, we'll call it, the rejuvenation period, those 3 days, we'll call it. That's like end of a moon cycle and the beginning of a new cycle. So just the end of a cycle, beginning of a cycle. So once we sync ourselves up with that, we're so much more synced up with the planet, the moon, the sun, everything. So you will, once you are on track, you start to feel it when it's coming a few days before. And those are the days when I'm really tightening up the diet. Then now I'm starting to drink alkaline water. I'm going to just have alkaline food,
So what kind of food, what kind of food are you cutting out
anyway?
What are you cutting out that you would normally eat, and what do you?
Okay.
Adding? Like I want to get a little more specific.
Okay, good question. So, yeah, I will. So, okay, I already didn't eat meat since 2018. Every once in a while I would have break down and have something, but I did eat fish. But then as I went through this process, as soon as, it's about going to higher consciousness, right? Higher awareness. And then you start to realize, I don't feel right about eating another conscious being that had a spine, a brain, a pineal gland. They have a spirit, like I'm not eating a bird, so why am I eating a fish? And you do start to learn, you go, you want to eat the flesh of another living being, a conscious being, how does that look? So again, I don't preach that to anyone. It's just, and you can't force that on anyone. You can't force someone or convince someone. It has to happen inside of you. You go I don't feel right about this. So I cut out fish, which was tough because it is good, I like that. I wasn't eating meat. So that was the one thing I had, but And there's a lot more to that too. There's about like dead energy as well. It's not just, it's about like, these things have been dead for so long. So, I don't know if you ever heard Joe Monroe is his name. I bet you have, but he gave he's a tattoo artist. He's covered in tattoos, English guy. And he only did 2 interviews, the same guy. And he was the one who during this process, he can explain the Taurus field so well. And he's just so well. So he's an incredibly intelligent guy and explains everything so well in different ways. And I mean, he's just a tattoo artist guy, the guy is so sharp. But anyway, he was talking about how, meat, like even carnivores, they only eat the meat when it's just died. They kill it and eat it. It's only there for 2 days. Like after 2 days, they won't go near the meat. So even the meat we're eating, besides all the chemicals they're putting in there, besides it being like acidic and all that, is dead energy. That's been dead. You know how long that meat has been dead for? And even carnivores don't go near it. So again, I'm not trying to convince anyone. It's like for yourself. But when you realize that we're just all energy and everything's energy, you want to put like dead energy in there.
It's the same with chi. Like, that's why you pick the grape off the stem later.
Yeah.
If you pick all your fruit, they also the chi leaves. So like it's got all that. Yeah. So it's all the same. Like the life energies in life. That's chi, prana, orgone, whatever you call it. So yeah, whether you're eating meat.
No, you're right.
So it's all the same. And then also like Carrie and Perry were saying no alcohol during this thing. And no smoking, which sucks because I drink and smoke like I'm a rock and roll guy. Like, but did you drink anyway, or do you?
I promise you, understand.
Do you drink, or do you not even?
No, I don't drink. No, I don't drink alcohol anymore either. I've had my fair share of alcohol. Trust me, I understand. Okay, I lived a majority of my life in LA. My best friends are musicians, like professional musicians. They my best friend. Closest friend. I mean, the biggest partier in history, So I understand, and I've done my fair share of all that. It's just alcohol is a no-brainer, and we can talk about that. But, well, I'll just say it now. It's just, this is a process of getting new brain cells, rejuvenating brain cells, right?
Well, I mean, cells are a theory. That's
expand our consciousness, right?
Yeah. But new brain tissue, cell
so just
bullshit. But tissue.
Yeah, I know. I don't want to get caught up in words. Also, in the thing of like, you're trying to rejuvenate the brain, right? Make the brain better and be more conscious, right?
Yeah.
Alcohol works by making us unconscious and killing brain cells or killing just. Again, it does that. That's how you know it's working. If you're drinking it, you're like, I'm not feeling unconscious. It's not working. It lowers your consciousness. It makes you like not conscious, right? Not aware then. Even let's not get caught up in words. You're like, oh man, like this. It's the same process of like a boxer getting like knocked out and being loopy. That's the same thing that alcohol does. And also it's the lowest frequency or vibration. Again, I don't kill me on the words. I'm just saying, what the process of alcohol working makes us less conscious. So it's not about morals or preaching. It's just, if you're going to do this process, if I want to activate the brain cells, sorry, using cells, but you know what I mean? Whatever you want to say, parts of the brain, I'm not going to destroy parts of the brain or make it worse part of the brain. And if I want to be more conscious, I'm not going to also like handicap myself and make myself lower conscious.
Well, it's interesting because Carrie and Perry are actually saying what the cigarettes and the booze do is they ruin the quality of the cerebrospinal fluid itself, not the brain, but the fluid quality gets ruined and cannot be electrified and magnetized. So they're kind of coming from that. So it sounds like you already were a no-brainer. But when they say you have to fast, right? Like this is when I fast once a year. Yeah. I fast like for 2 weeks. I drink water and that's it. I don't even touch a drop of food. But you're saying you're
well, look at that. You can do that.
You're acidically fasting. You're not fasting those 7 days. Is that correct? You do eat, but
well,
and,
what
and
I do,
lessen,
what I do,
yeah, and do you lessen
during
your
the 3
food,
days?
you know? Yeah.
Yeah, lessen it as it approaches. Like now, it's like I try to, be done eating well before like the moon's about to enter Aries, and then once it does, I will just drink alkaline water. Just get a bunch of alkaline water, fill up like a glass bottle. I mean, again, when I tell you, I do everything. So I put the water in the sun. I could get into that, but I bless the water.
Get into that. That's really important to charge.
I put the water into a harmonic resonance all the time. I do everything to, what's that?
Well, I was going to say it's really important that you sun charge your water. People don't know that. Like, you do need to put your water out in the sun and charge it up. I have one of these analemma wands as well that I stir my water with. Does the same thing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, it's a water structuring one. There's structured water in here. And then because structured resonates, when you stir water with this, unstructured water will become structured like this. Just like Vita Austin showed you take an organic chicken egg, right? Like a nice dark orange egg. You can put it around 12 ugly yellow, barn tortured chicken eggs. And the ones closest around it, their yolks will start to orange up. The one great egg will make the other eggs around it turn great, even though the chickens were tortured. But as you get further away, they stay yellow and shitty. So that structuring is resonance, and it affects everything in its field. So it's important what you're saying, that you do have charged water. Yeah. Go on. Sorry to cut you off. Yeah.
Yeah, because I started to see there's so many videos explaining it and proof. I'm saying like proof of if you put like, feelings of love, gratitude into the water. I mean, I've even done experiments with it where put it in the ice. I've seen so many videos on that, and I would like, talk to the water. And I mean, water is conscious. When you learn that, you can put it into like a harmonic pattern or whatever you want to, use the word, put it into harmony. And again, there's so many videos to prove that. And I learned that along the way too. So I make sure I go all out, I write Post-it notes on the bottles. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. I feel love, all that. I write it backwards too. I put them on both sides of it. And because then when anyone looks at it, you go like, I feel grateful. Oh, thank you. Thank you. You're putting that into the water too. So I mess around. I go big. I put it in the sun. I also swirl it. And I don't take a sip of any liquid without putting in, like feelings of gratitude into it. Thank it. Because that water is going to become us too. Don't forget. We're like, what? They say, 80% water, 99% on the molecular level, whatever they say. It's like we're mostly water. That water doesn't just go through us. It's like becomes part of us. So yeah, I charge the water. I do everything with the water. And again, I try, this is when I'm having alkaline water. And then what I do is, when I start, I go as long as I can without eating. And then along the way, I'm basically down to eating like the best fruit that I can get, from the farmer's market, whatever is available, that I can get. That's not like blasted with chemicals, blasted with wax and stuff, because this is the shame. This is the shame, is that this process is, a natural process that's built in the body. There's an opportunity to rejuvenate yourself. But like these days, look at what they're putting in all our food. It's like blasted with chemicals. The ground is blasted with chemicals, as you know.
Do you eat veg when you're doing your lunar fast? Do you eat any veg, or are you mostly fruit? And how many times do you when you're hungry, like once every 2 days, or what? How often do you eat during the fast?
No, I eat every day. I want to say, now, don't get me wrong. I've heard people that they fast the whole time. They do a water fast, and that's great. But for me, I don't want to. I mean, I just eat as little as I can and as needed. So what I eat now, yes, I used to eat vegetables in the beginning. Again, my diet got better and better. I refined it more and more. So I wasn't doing it right as much in the beginning, the first months. But now I'm down to, I just eat fruit, fresh, raw fruit. And I do have cucumber. I guess that's a fruit too, I think, right? Fruit, vegetable. I have a cucumber. Yeah. What do you want to say? Because cucumber in the water. So I have a lot of cucumbers. They're alkaline. I learned everything that's alkaline. Cucumber and avocado. Yeah. So basically fruits, the freshest fruits that I have, and it just as needed. I also have raw walnuts and raw almonds, and that helps a lot too. That's what I had before this, because I was like really, really, really hungry, but I just had like some raw walnuts, raw almonds, and also you can soak those too in alkaline water and stuff. I've learned, another thing about like all these, that video is anything I've talked about the results, it's a lot of stuff, but I've also all of a sudden learned to cook because yeah, my diet's so strict that well, what can I eat in alkaline water? So I had to just learn to make it. And then all of a sudden I'm like a really good cook. Never been able to cook before. Now I cook all the food for like me and my wife,
Well, it's funny because when I was talking
what I've had success.
I was just going to say, when I was talking to Anaya, we were talking about the Hebrews, the ancient Israelites, during their fast, they would eat unleavened bread, which means no yeast, like flat. That's why in the Middle East, they have all this flat bread, like pitas, and it's not bread. Because the yeast end up putting nitrous oxide into your blood, which is acidic. So the reason during their fasts is they had unleavened or unyeasted bread was to make it alkaline. It's alkaline bread, which is interesting you say that. So you already had that.
Yeah, you can get that. Yeah, I mean, yeah, so I had that. And what I do, honestly, was it's been the best situation. I've done this now for probably 6 months, is I make a soup, an alkaline soup. So it's usually out of like red lentils. And the last 2 times I've made split pea. And I also put a sweet potato in there. I kind of just made up my own, where it's just like, I learned how to make the red lentil soup. And then I started putting a sweet potato in there. So this is what I do, because you're eating liquid, alkaline liquid, but you do also get, full, and it's delicious too. So I recently learned that split pea is also alkaline, and my mom used to make split pea soup, so I just did the same recipe with lentils. So to sum it up, I just basically eat fresh fruit as needed, and raw walnuts, raw almonds, and then I make this alkaline soup, which is still liquid. And because basically you just want to eat light. You don't want to be full. And again, that I like God-man made flesh for that, for the practical reasons of like, he does explain why not to have alcohol, or anything that doesn't get digested becomes acidic and like burns the oil, is the way he describes it, So again, get caught up with words, but it ruins it. And it says in the beginning of God Man Made Flesh, which I actually put in that video, the quote, he says there's a process built into the body that, if not interfered with, that's a key, if not interfered with. So sometimes we're talking about, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? It's like, just don't get in the way of it. So when you think about fasting, it's not just, fast because someone told you to. It's just that every time you're going to eat something or put anything in your mouth during this period, you ask yourself, why am I putting this? Because that's just awareness anyway, right? That's being more conscious. You're going like, why am I putting this in my body? What's the reason I'm doing that? And then it causes you to pause and consider it for a second. Like, what am I doing? And then, so if you overeat and it doesn't get digested, because digestion does play a big part of this, right? I mean, and it's in the solar plexus, in the stomach.
I was just going to say, even when the moon's not in your sun sign, when the body can only do one at a time, it can either digest food or it can go clean out the body. Whether no matter where the moon is, doesn't matter. So that's just normal anyway.
Right.
If you got to clean toxins out of your body,
exactly,
and you eat 3 times a day, you spend all your day getting rid of the digestion, and it will never clear out the toxins. It'll just keep dumping more and more, and suddenly you're fat with cancer. You know what I mean? So that's already a gimme in regular health. And they say after 7 days of no food, cellular theory is bullshit, but whatever happens, they say all your energy resets again. Even for cancer patients, like the best thing you can do is fast 7 days. They say after 3, it does not work. Not after 6, not after 6.5 days. After 7 is when the body does a full reset. So no matter what illness you have, don't eat a thing. Don't even put a grape in your mouth, just water, and your whole body will reset and start to regenerate because you've given it a week to regenerate and heal. Whereas even if you put a grape in your mouth, that's the end. The healing stops and digestion starts. You know, you need cantaloupe and stuff that gets digested in the small intestine. But so that's just anyway that. But what I wanted to ask you, because food's only one part of it, right? So then there's the meditation, the breathing practices.
There you go.
And then there's the spiritual
there you go,
fasting.
because
I want to get into, because it's also thinking proper thoughts during this time, right? It's not just food. You can't walk around pissed off, angry.
Which I would say is more important. It's more important even. I mean, equally
you're
important.
an Aries living
and I don't
with a
hear
Leo.
much about that.
You're an Aries and a Leo living together.
Yeah.
You must bump heads a lot.
I'm so glad you know this.
You must bump heads a lot, man.
And yeah, of course. We are really the perfect, like, yin and yang, like the perfect balance, it's very interesting. Now that I've learned this, I didn't know anything about astrology, by the way, before this. I didn't know anything about astrology. And then all of a sudden I've learned it rapidly. Now I understand, much more, but my wife knows way more about astrology. But yeah, exactly. So we do butt heads a lot, but it's good. So yeah, what you were saying about
well, I was saying, so the food is one part of it, but you also have to mentally, you have to really chill out, right? Like for a week, you have to mentally be good-minded, like you're saying with Eckhart Tolle, right? Let's talk about the mental state. What do you do those 7-ish days, or let's call it a bell curve, right? When you get your Christos PMS, and then you come into the bell curve and the moon's in Aries. So what are you doing mentally about all this to protect yourself from, because you can make your blood acidic by worry.
Yeah, for sure. And when I say fast, like the food fasting is really it's relatively easy. I mean, look, you do 2 weeks. I mean, other people that I've talked to about this or heard about, and anyone, my friends, I've got them to do it. They're literally just having like water the whole 3 days. They're better at the food than even me. But it's still relatively easy for me. It's not easy for me not to have coffee. I mean, I still like to have coffee at regular day, but I've learned that that's not, it's because of the energy, and it's like, you don't want your heart racing, basically. You want...
Do you cut out coffee and tea during your fast? You don't drink coffee and tea during your fast?
I will have at night, but like no caffeine one.
But like herbal tea, right? Like a fruit tea kind of. You won't drink. Yeah,
it's really good. I mean, I get it from an apothecary. I get the best, that I can find. Really like what I do is just get like loose leaf herbs from an apothecary. And you know what I've been drinking now for like 6 months is horsetail tea, which cleans out aluminum and fluoride from the pineal gland. It's good for the pineal gland. So I have teas that are good for the pineal gland. If I have tea, I don't always have it. I have it at night. I'll have, no caffeine and have a horsetail tea. And honestly, I do have, I make tea from, the mushroom, I think it's the anema, the one they say, the red mushroom with the white spots.
The one they say is a killer. That's a Scandinavian one. The what's it called? The one the Vikings used to berserk with. Yeah. They say it's highly deadly, but you can take it in small doses. It won't kill you.
Yeah, I have a jar of it, and thanks for telling me that. I'm taking a deadly one, but no, I have heard.
Don't eat the jar, or you'll die.
If we're talking about the same one, I know exactly. I'm like, well, I've been taking every time I've done it. For the most part, I make tea out of it, and I have that tea too because that one's really good. I guess it goes along with it. It goes along with like the brain, and mushrooms can be good for the brain because it creates new neural pathways or whatever they say,
Does that help you chill out?
So I'll have that tea.
Yeah. Does that help your mindfulness during your fast then when you're raising the Christos or the seed? Do the mushrooms just help you like chill out?
I think so. I mean, I don't feel too much from that. It's not like it's psilocybin or anything. It's not like, it's just, but I did see it say, like, as I saw more on it, that it's good, that it goes right along with this spiritual practice. I'm like, oh, good. Well, I've been doing that almost every time. And like, for all we know, that is playing a big part too. I don't know. But I'll have that tea. And then again, like I have so anyway, back to what you were asking about the fasting is, it's a fast from everything that lowers our frequency, our vibration. It messes us up. So that means I'm deleting all social media off the phone. You want to stay away from the phone as much as you can, much as all the devices as you can. That means Wi-Fi, Bluetooth and 5G. Now, this is why I made a point of saying where I live. It's like, and even right now, I'm around it. I'll be okay. But like, you don't want your computer on your lap. You don't want your phone in your hand, the whole time. You want to, as much as you can, you want to turn off Wi-Fi. This is what I try. Like, my wife's been gone during this time. So I've been able to just have the Wi-Fi off. I've finally been able to do it by myself, where I'm finally can just control all the lights and, turn off all devices. Again, I understand we're in this society. We're in our man-made society, and it's hard to avoid. But as much as you can, you want to be away from your devices. You want to be, for sure, away from all news headlines. I mean, you should do that anyway. But, you want to be away from, because even if you're on a good fast, you're in this high vibration, you still hear the news, you hear these like headlines that are designed to make us afraid. They're designed to create fear. They're designed to make us angry and upset and worried. So you don't want to even see that. So for me, that was the harder part. Like in the beginning, fasting took a while to get used to the first couple of times for food. But I still don't eat that much anyways. I still keep it like I don't know. I just don't eat that much already right now. So, but with, we scroll mindlessly on our phone. This is like unconscious, and like we stare at the screen and stuff. So you want to fast from all TV shows, all movies, all screens, all Wi-Fi. That's a big part of it, because you could be like, oh, I'm on this spiritual practice, and you're scrolling on the phone. Like, and again, we all do it. I know I do it too, but it's a time to clean that out. We all know this is all bad for us. All these things are bad for us. So this is why I want to say to people is like, even if, let's just pretend it's not doing anything. Let's just pretend that, it doesn't, there's nothing. They wrote everything in those ancient holy books. They took the time to do all that. It's on all these fables. It's the story of Santa Claus. Let's just pretend there's nothing to it. Let's pretend, they carved it into mountains, the Kundalini and everything. Let's just pretend it doesn't do anything. It's still imagine if you just fasted 3 days a month from everything that's bad from us, all the chemicals in our food, all the scrolling, all the devices, all the social media, all these terrible headlines, and just for 3 days. Same with you. I want to encourage you. It's like, I understand, man. Believe me, I understand more than you know about smoking and drinking and all that. Okay, trust me. But it's like, it's even like 2.5 days. If you could just make it 3 days to cleanse yourself, and then you kind of like bring what I was doing, what was happening with me is like, I would carry the things the habits that I was doing from these 3 days as far into the month as I could, the next cycle. So, next few days, you're like, maybe I'm not going to get on social media now. Now I'm not going to watch stuff. I'm going to stay away from my phone now, for like, now you make it 2 days, 3 days, pretty soon you're living this way all the time. But even if you don't, what if we all just took 3 days, to stop these terrible habits and just avoid them for just 2-3 days? Because we all know the benefits of fasting. Everyone's doing all this fasting, dopamine fasting, intermittent fasting. You say you're doing this water fast. Everyone knows the benefits. Every religion fasts, fasting. Everyone knows the benefits nowadays.
Well, you also need to
time it at the optimal time for your body.
Yeah, you need to also fast from negative people around you as well, because they also cause stress and worry.
Thank you.
So you're talking about not a food fast. You're talking about an emotional fast. I'm the same, when I do these 2-week fasts and I don't smoke and drink and eat and everything. You're not even hungry after 3 days. I start waking up at 4 a.m. like, Jesus, man, I got so much energy. I'm not even eating. but it's really important what you're saying.
Yeah.
The emotional stuff can also ruin the quality of the cerebral spinal fluid, as Carrie and Perry claim. So
for sure.
This is also important. And like you're saying, if you're let's say you're gonna fast 3 days a month, why not do it when the moon's in your sun sign? You might as well do it when you're naturally
That's what I try to tell people.
the Christos anyway, right?
Everyone I know, exactly, like everyone I know does some sort of version of fasting. Everyone I know at certain points does fasting. And I'm like, well, why don't you just do that when it's optimal time, when you have an opportunity to rejuvenate yourself, because just trust me, they map this out for a reason. There is a specific clock with our body and the planet, and like, just do it at this optimum time. Just take our word for it. How about that? You don't have to.
Yeah. By the way, you said you're using astrotheme.com to find, because people might say, well, how do I know in tropical when is the moon in my sun sign versus sidereal? So I'll put a cut in an edit here and show people on AstroTheme how to do it, or they can get Nicole Murphy's calendar, which I learned that I just write them down in this calendar. It's easier, but
yeah. No, that's great. And yeah, I've learned, like, Nicole Murphy's the one who talked about AstroTheme, and I don't want to, like, I'm not promoting any app, because I don't swear by that, because I don't know. But
I double checked. She
says that one's accurate. She says another one too. Right.
It's correct.
And like the moon app, she says. Yeah, there's another one she references as the moon app, and that one are accurate, she said, like with that. And then, so what I do is I take that AstroTheme one, I check that, and then I check other sites, and they tend to match up pretty close. I mean, I know it can vary by the day and days, and that can mess you up if you're only doing these 3 days. But I say, check that one is accurate if it matches up with the calendar, and if she swears by it. I've seen Santos Bonacci use that app as well, so I go along with that one. But then I check all apps too. Yeah, and so you'll find that once, and then even if you're starting, you can go, okay, the moon, it's a full moon. Let's take Aries. It's just a full moon in Aries in October. Full moon in Aries, okay, so this is when it was. So now it's about, you just follow the moon cycle right there, and then you check all the apps and you narrow down one. That like in about 28 days or so, it's going to come that time again. And then it's the quicker you get used to that, you'll go, okay, a few days before, I'm going to start chilling out with what I'm not going to eat like all the worst stuff. And I'm going to like start preparing the body, and then start, drinking alkaline water, and then do your fast then and do it. But yeah, then this is the time to get away from all the, like you said, other people's energy. It's tough enough to control our own energy. But when we control our own energy, once you can do that, you're like, okay, good. But then as soon as you come into contact with someone else, it can mess you up so quickly. So that's the challenge. And this is why I say, like, the people we live with, again, they mean well. The more people we live with, that's more to balance. Our animals, everything, they affect our energy. So you want to just try to stay in that heart.
Well, it's not really them that affect your energy. Yeah. It's how you react to it. They can do all the crazy shit they want. There you go. But if you start getting angry and upset,
exactly.
It's like the Buddhists say, if you hold a hot charcoal in your hand, you only burn yourself, so like you have to learn how to deal with them. So we're getting on long, we're dragging on long. So I want to ask you, so the breath work, you sent me a great, so you're doing like the 3 breathing exercises. There's a YouTube channel. I'll put the video at the end of this, the school of breath.
And look, with the breathing practices, hold on, like, well, I want to make it clear. Like, I mean, I sent you those videos because that was all I could find for like the positioning and the basic idea of like raising the oil, and like, especially with the other one where you do the alternate nostril breathing, and he was showing like the stomach vacuum and pulling it up. I mean, okay, everyone swears by the microcosmic orbit, which is basically just circulating the breath. It's really just slow breathing. You follow it as it comes up the back. You kind of like pause as it here, and then you send it. You follow the breath back down. You're just in and out. It's not. I always try to make everything really, really simple with like breathing. You know, I don't try to get into the. I want to keep it simple for everyone. So if you just do slow breathing, these 3 days in and out, you're really gonna be fine, because you can't force it. I know we talk about raising the oil. There are techniques, of course, to raise the Kundalini practices to raise the energy up the spine. That's a real thing, and you've seen a little bit of it demonstrated. There are 4 locks. They call them locks. I'm just going to say it like that. Like, squeezing at the pelvic floor, when, the muscles where you stop yourself from going to the bathroom, say. You squeeze there. You do the stomach. You suck your stomach in. Stomach vacuum, what they call it. But like, you hold there. You hold here at the neck, basically your collarbones up here. And the tongue is a big part of it. You do have to, we're supposed to keep our tongue on the roof of our mouth. This is where it's designed to go. It's supposed to rest. Like when you're not talking, like right now, if you close your mouth, it should be right here, behind the teeth, at the top of the roof of the mouth. Then another level is you want the tongue up and back. So if you see this, I don't know if you see it. It kind of hooks. There's a bump at the top of the mouth.
Yeah.
Where, the tongue can rest there very comfortably.
I'll put in a graphic. I've got a graphic.
24/7.
Yeah. You also because it's really hard to get your tongue. You have to roll your tongue. You got to curl it and then push it up so the tip gets kind of shoved back, right? Because it's pretty hard to get your tongue back there.
Yeah.
Like, it's not normal feeling.
It is. But here's the thing. You can do it. Anyone can do it like with regular practice. You can rest comfortably in like 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks. You do that. And as I think I mentioned to you that apparently we do that when we're babies. We roll our tongue back and we go up there, but then we stop doing that. So it's an easy thing to do once you do it. I know it's weird when you first do it. You're like, what am I doing? But there's a technique where I don't want to be like how bad it'll look on camera, but you kind of like you can stretch it. You go like this. So you suction it. I'll just do it really quick. Okay, so I don't know if you see it, but you're stretching this part of the jaw. So I don't know if you can see it, but then you let it come off suction. You go like, then you stick the tongue out as far as you can. Sorry if that doesn't look flattering, but and then you roll it back, and that will stretch it, and there are plenty of videos on that. You can learn that like really quick, but because that does, they say, close the circuit. You're basically creating a track so that the energy or breath is going up here. It just goes. Yeah, they say it closes the circuit, right? The circuit is like a racetrack. Imagine you're making a racetrack. You're creating that racetrack. It's like here at the stomach, and you can. I mean, I do this every single day. The practice of raising because people can raise the Kundalini energy any day.
It's
just the optimum time to do it is when the special fluid is.
It's already happened naturally every 12 hours. You do it twice a day, but not as much as you bring up. You're getting a lot more energy.
Right, exactly.
And I'll put the Joe Dispenza video explaining
so I'm doing that every day. And you can do that every day.
But I was going to ask, are you more conscious about it while you're doing your, when the moon's in your sun sign, are you really like overly more trying to do it more than usual?
Oh, for sure. For sure. This is when it's like, because I do it every day. I do my breathing. I do all different breathing practices all day, every day. But when this is when I get really, really formal, when the sun, of course, like, so what, again, there's levels to it, how much you want to do. If someone just wants to do slow breathing that time, you're going to be good. If you want to do the microcosmic orbit, do that. It's very basic, just sitting straight up and following the breath up and down. And it's, it'll do its thing. But if you want to get more advanced, I definitely recommend doing heliotropic breathing, which is basically like fast breathing, heavy breathing with pauses to like hold your breath. And there are different ways you can hold on the inhale, release it, exhale it out. once you learn that, that really brings visuals to the brain. And people do it all the time, DMT breathing, to release DMT. And I go to those, like me and my wife go to a great one, a breathwork class where this older couple has been doing it for 25 years. They're so good at, like, everyone sees visuals. Like, everyone sees it once you do it. And it's like a lot of like fast breathing. And then you hold your breath and you squeeze, you do things, and that will really light up the brain. That will light it up no matter what. And you want to do that during the secretion days. If you're only going to do it once, do it during those days. So that's like the Wim Hof technique. Everyone knows that one. It's very popular. Just it's in the heliotropic breathing family. So it's just basically a lot of breathing and then holding breath. So I do all of them on the secretion day. I do it at morning and night, with a very, very focused one at like 2.5 days after, right as the moon is leaving Aries, as close to that as I can. And then, but what I have found is when I've had these powerful Kundalini awakenings where it really bursts into the brain, and I see, just a massively powerful experiences, that happens the day after. So like today is the third day, right? The moon, like, tonight will be basically like 2.5 days. So tomorrow night, we'll see what happens,
That's when the big bang comes. That's what I was going to ask you. What will happen. So during these 2.5 days or 3 days or whatever, are you doing, like, because you can also do diaphragmatic breathing, alternate nostril, humming breath.
Yeah.
Humming's a good one because
humming is big too. Everyone should do that too.
Any day.
Everyone should do the humming because your vagus nerve. Vibrates the skull. It vibrates the pineal gland.
It resets your vagus nerve, your whole system. It resets your whole nervous system. I hum anytime I'm out walking to the store. I'm like, it really,
perfect.
It's really great. But there are breathing techniques where you can add that in too as well, which is great. And I'll post that at the end.
Of course. Yeah. So I do that. I do all that too.
Right. So
and also with the tongue there, you have the tongue there and you hum. Keep in mind the tongue is pointing, when it's back, it's like pointing up to the pineal gland. So you're kind of like directing the energy, you're directing your focus even more too. And then you hum and you vibrate the skull, the jaw, the teeth, you vibrate the pineal gland. You're activating it too. So there are so many little techniques you can do.
Well, that's important. And I do when you do all these, right? You still have to mentally, you've got to block your, what do you call that? Your what's that called? Perineum, and you're pulling your diaphragm, but you still have to mentally direct your energy to your pineal gland, which is just a. You want to. It's 2 inches above.
You want to, imagine it coming in like here,
right
here.
You still have to mentally visualize the energy going there,
and you kind of focus the energy here. You focus on it, and I want to make it like it is a technique, and you should learn it, and you should be careful because whenever you're pulling energy up, even breath, and you're just focusing on your brain, even to your head, you're going to bring energy there, and you could get a headache or you're going to have problems. So what you want to do also is you want to send the energy back down. And I'm so grateful I've learned that because where I first heard that was from that Dr. Robert Gilbert. You know who he is, right? I think I'm saying his name right? He was the first time when he was doing like energy. This is before I did practice this, but he was talking about, energy, because there's so many different ways to, focus on the pineal gland and bring energy there. He does like energy work, right? Like light energy work. And he was always saying, make sure you send the energy back down. Don't send it all to your brain. And also don't send it all like directly energy to your heart. Because, like whack out your heart, attack your heart, attack your head.
I don't know, because I had a talk with Anaya, the science witch. I don't know if you saw my talk with her about Ireland and microcosmic orbit, because you're talking about the orbit.
Oh, yeah, I saw. Yeah,
she is bringing it to her heart, actually. And she's having having like full body orgasms. She's having orgasms through her heart.
Yeah.
Which sounds, the ladies listen are like, sign me up.
No, I understand. And she's correct. Yeah. No, but that's true too. I always bring it back to the heart at the end. But what I mean is, I'm just trying to say, you don't want to say like, let's say, focus pure on the heart, and then you just focus all your energy like blasting your heart or blasting your brain. You do your thing, you bring it up, you focus, pineal gland, and also even up here, you want to bring it to the crown chakra. And then you want to bring it back down. So, I mean, I can demonstrate all this, and I'll post videos. I'm going to start posting videos because I am talking to people and a lot more, and everyone has questions, especially about the specific breathing. And I will show you, because even those videos you were talking about that I was just trying to, there's little pieces of them that will work, but they're not exactly. But anyway, you bring it up and then you send it back down. And then at the end, you kind of like you could come back to the heart, and you should. She's right. You come back to it. I just meant, okay, if I just take a bunch of inhales and I focus in my brain, my head, I'm going to get a headache real quick. If I just like, I'm going to be like, okay, man. But what you have to do is you have to go, you bring it up and you hold your breath, and then you send it back down. Then as it come back up, you can do this too. You can go, you make even the shape of the torus field. So if I'm banging around, but you spread the energy around. They say like a shower out of, even with your hands, because, keep in mind, you're creating energy like this too, right? So you bring up breath to the top of your head and you kind of bring it here. And then I switch back and then I send it back down. You send it back down because you will feel like a burst of energy. So you pull it back down, and you feel your whole body with light. You feel your whole body with the light and energy. And then, when you're coming back down, I always end at the heart, because this is the center of us. This is the real center of us. So she's correct. And that's absolutely correct. You want to bring it back you want to end here. You just don't want to
because you're talking about mudras,
inhale into your heart
passes,
like crazy.
That's Tai Chi, shamanic passes, mudras, energy clearing. Like you're right. Once you get too much energy somewhere, it's got to be dissipated or moved around. But the point is to get the magnets.
Yeah, you can't just leave the magnets
going.
Energy, yeah.
Yeah, but you need to get if you want your brain to go in the gamma
circulate
states,
everything,
you need
circulate everything, and then end your focus. Yeah.
So some of the things that have happened to you now after 13 months of doing this are pretty crazy and incredible to me. And this is what I think people won't understand. Let me first talk about the light that you're seeing. So is this 24/7?
Good idea. Yeah. Because we didn't really
tell me about
that.
This greenish yellow light. And it's in the video in the beginning, but when did that happen? And does it happen constantly? Tell me about this light.
What happened was, it was right before the fourth time. A few days before, again, this is when the major things happen. I'm just trying to speed through it. But I woke up in the morning and I looked on the blank white wall and I could see a light on the wall. Now, I was just coming out of sleep. So I was just waking up, and it turns out I had been seeing it in a dream, like dreaming it. So when I was just like groggy coming out of it, and I was like, oh, it's still there, was my first thought. Like, oh, look. And it was a violet color, kind of like, yellowish in the middle, circular shape on the wall. I'm looking at it right now. This is why I'm looking over there. But you can see it very clearly on the white wall, right? So I saw that and I was like, oh, but then when I would close my eyes like this, it turns bright green with like a darker purple around it. And it looks just like the crown chakra. If you've ever seen any picture of the crown chakra, it's like, it's a circular shape, violet color, like a little middle in there. And then you close the eye, and I close my eyes, it turns bright green in the center, and it's darker purple around. So this was I was like, wow, this is crazy. So what happened was I had my morning coffee, I sat down on the couch, and I just was like staring at the light and looking at it and thinking out loud, talking out loud, thinking to myself, just staring at the light and experimenting, looking at it. And I was sitting on the couch and I'm doing that. And I was just basically talking about the universe all of a sudden out loud, like the way I understand the universe stuff, right? So then I get up. I finally was like, okay, I'm going to take my cup and go to the kitchen and start the day. It was 3:30 in the afternoon. It was like I'd been just sitting on the couch staring at the light, and like there's no concept of time. But that's what's happened to me as well. That's the down. If you say what's the downside, it's not a downside, but what makes it difficult, I have almost no concept of time because time doesn't exist. And like It's a man-made thing, it's a created, doesn't really exist. So as we go to higher levels of consciousness or awareness, there is no time really. Everything is just right now. So anyway, that was crazy to me. But then the next day I drew it, and I could show you a picture of the first time I drew it. I just spent like all day drawing it, and it came out pretty accurate. And then, so then I didn't know what was going on, and it's just always stayed with me. It's still here.
That was my question. So it's always there. On. Now, when you're looking with your eyes open at the wall,
that's the difference.
How big is it on the wall? Like 2 feet, 20 feet? How big is it when you see it on the wall? Like,
no, it's small. I would say like what it seems. No, it's small. Even when you get close, it will get small on the wall.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, again, now I understand it a lot better. But
when you shut your eyes, is it like, when you shut your eyes, is it your whole visual? When you close your eyes and you see the black.
No, that's a good question. It's smaller. It's smaller. It's almost like, think of a flashlight that when you close your eyes, let's just say if you close your eyes and you see darkness, right? Think of it as like a thin spotlight, like a flashlight. And then as the pineal gland opens up more and more, because, it starts off like a pine cone, like think of it as like a crystal pine cone, like a clear crystal pine cone, like a prism where light goes through. And it projects light, and it can receive light and project light. So imagine just a pine cone closed. It's starting to open, so you start to see like a small like flash of light, a beam of light. And then as it opens more, the circle widens, and you start to get more light and more light. But no, it's not a blast. It's again, think of a flashlight in the dark, and you just can point it around, right? So then, it's like imagine I'm pointing a flashlight on the wall. It would look like that, probably exactly like a flashlight. So
but it's colored though, but it's green and purple.
The main light, and then probably a hue around it, like an aura around it.
My question is then, in your regular everyday old city life, in your little apartment with your wife doing regular stuff, when you look at a piece of paper or you're looking at me right now on the screen, is this affecting you? Like, can you see through this light, or is it like to the point where it's affecting? Do you know what I mean? Can you do regular shit in your life with this green, yellow light in your way, or is it just translucent?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's a fair question. And it's funny when anyone I've told about it go like, "Oh yeah, are you seeing it right now?" And I go, "Yeah, of course." I'm like, "Really?" Yeah.
That's my question. Does it affect your regular life to have this light?
No, it's not. It's nothing in the way. It's just that, and then, so during the day, it's more relaxed. So like the reason I keep saying a white wall, because, when it's, if I look, at something that's not white background, it's a little harder to see it with my eyes open. I can make it out where it is, but you kind of, you have to look. But then if I look at a white wall, it's of course right there. This is why it was such a shock when I woke up. I was like a
projector on a movie screen,
on the light, and you see it on the wall.
That's why they show movies on a white
so I was
screen.
like, what is going on?
So when you look at your computer right now, there's a little bit of it, right? But it's not there. Yeah. So is this like the more you focus, is this like the more you concentrate on it, the brighter? Does this change intensities with your focus? Or is it one intensity, or have you ever thought about it?
It changes intensities with light. Again, that's the different thing with me, where everyone else has seen this light. I mean, you've seen this actually.
I've seen
if you look at the sun and you close your eyes, and you could see it in dark. And I mean, my wife is now seeing it. She always says it's not too far away. My friend is seeing it. Anyone can learn to do it if you just look at the sun with your eyes closed. But the key is a way to train it is to focus on the details. So look at like, so the green color is here, the blue color is here, and just because then you're training the eye, you're training the optic thalamus, or the whole area, the inner eye. I don't want to get too technical on the names, but you're training the inner eye. I mean, think about it. And you can do the same thing with a flame. If you look at the flame of a candle and you stare at it for a long time and you close your eyes, you'll see that like after effect. It's like, what are you seeing that light with? Your eyes are closed. You're seeing it we all have it. But with me, it's different. It's on all the time. It doesn't affect me, especially during the day. and I don't need to really focus so much. It's just, yeah, if I do focus, I can do all kinds of things now, but yeah, I can zoom in on it. It will start to open and be more prominent. Now it will do that on it. It will do that on its own as the evening comes, because even now that I'm talking about it, it's coming here. See, it's like it tingles and vibrates. There's an awareness there, as I say. So if you have like hair, you have little hairs in here, I could feel it. So then what happens is around 5 or 6 p.m., it starts to vibrate. Now it starts to wake up at night. Because again, like they said, the pineal gland is most active from like 10 p.m. to 2 a.m. or something like that.
That's its gig when it gets
right at night. As it gets darker.
Yeah, that's when it comes out. That's of course, man. That's all the blindfold retreats.
Right. So at nighttime,
that's crazy, man. That's totally crazy, but that's natural.
Yeah, it really is. But again, I'm so used to it. So just to answer your question, like I'll live during like this whole time, I wasn't like staring at her, and it doesn't get in the way. You forget about it. But of course, if I look at the wall, it's right there. It's right there. But at night, that's a different story. Now, my nights are definitely a lot different now, because evening comes down, it gets dark, and now it like comes alive, and now I can see it very well. And so,
is it in your dreams? Is it in your dreams? Like when you're dreaming, is there still a light around? Have you thought about next time you dream, see if that light's in your dreams?
I'm not aware of that. I'm not aware of that, except for that first time I realized, oh yeah, I was just seeing this in the dream. But no, I honestly, I don't really see it when I dream, not that I can remember. I don't really remember my dreams so well unless I really focus on them, start making a practice of it. Right. But no, I don't see it there. But yeah, at nighttime, then it's like very prominent. Then it's like, and then of course, if you do breath work and do any of these things, then it's like, anything can happen.
That happens anyway.
It will get very bright. You will see even more.
So this kind of came on permanently after your fourth seed, right? Like your fourth month of raising the Christos or the seed.
Right before the fourth time. So I really exactly. So I'd been doing it basically 3 months, and it was right about before the fourth time it happened. Again, clockwork. That's the other thing where I know about the tropicals. Like every single time the moon is in Aquarius, this is when it will widen. Or new things will appear, new shapes will appear. And then I told you, I can also see 2 eyes, which I understand now, on each side of the light. But again, they're my eyes. It's a reflection. So it's like you're looking in a mirror, because more has developed. And again, I don't know how much time, but I would like to explain that or show that. But
please do. Yeah, go ahead.
Here and the light is here. So you're basically looking at yourself in the mirror.
So for people who are like, I think this is really important for people who want to do this and go through this and try it. The first 3 months, did you notice anything else happening? Or like, so people don't get discouraged, let's say they go 3 months and go, nothing's happening.
Yeah. Great point.
What happened before that? Or was it like suddenly after 4 of these, it was like, fucking bang, here we go.
Yeah, no, I do want to make that clear that like, this is not necessarily, this doesn't need to happen. You're still just rejuvenating your brain and rejuvenating your body, and you're opening up more of your brain. It's a spiritual practice. You go through it, you feel great. And no, I'm saying you don't necessarily need to turn on bright light in your skull necessarily. You should be able to see with it eventually. We should all be able to develop that, and we can all see the light. Again, I'd highly recommend sun gazing and looking at the sun with your eyes closed, all that. You'll see light, and you'll just like wake it up. You don't need to see it. Not everyone needs to see like some crazy thing happen. So to answer your question, the first 3 times, nothing like visual happened, except that when I was closing my eyes and looking at the sun, I started to be able to see new colors that I'd never been able to see. So I could tell there was development happening. But I'll tell you this, after my first time doing this, as soon as I was done, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm doing this the rest of my life. I just know that. I have a note about it. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm doing this. And, I was just speaking with someone on, Telegram. I was helping her. I've been helping her a little bit. She asked questions, and she did it for the first time, and she had, again, amazing experiences, amazing feeling, like more consciousness, realizations, awakenings. You develop, you become more spiritual and more realizations, and your brain will get in way, way better shape. And again, you get out of it what you put into it. This is what I always say. It's not something that like just happens to you. And you don't want, I know the feeling, because in the beginning I was like, okay, I was trying too hard. I was trying all those exercises, trying to blast myself in the brain. I was like, I'm going to pull the oil up. I'm going to do this. And, you get like a headache or something like that. And you just think you can't force it. It's going to happen naturally. And if, just like I said, the light came on while I was sleeping, It's just, you don't want to get like a big explosion or big powerful thing. You want to gradually awaken every moment of the day, every moment of your life. Like, you awaken, you become more aware, more conscious of stuff. So yeah, don't get discouraged. Just know the process is happening and you're getting, better and better. Your brain is getting better and better, and you're opening up. You want to open up gradually. Now, me, I'm like I said, I'm doing everything. I'm living it. There's no like, oh, what do I do today? It's every single day, So anyway, yeah, hopefully that answered that question.
Yeah, and what about health benefits too? Did you feel like more energized or better health, or did anything like that happen?
Well, as I think you've heard from the audio, and you've seen the video. Again, I'm like you when you said, I'm not trying to live forever. I didn't do this and I don't know that. I mean, I think we're so destroyed, but anyway, like so affected by what they put in our food and how much they've purposely closed our pineal glands and try to cement them shut, never tell you about it, put all the stuff that's bad for us in it. So we're battling a lot more than they were battling when they first learned about this. So I'm not after, eternal life. And I wasn't even doing it for the health benefits. Having said that, okay, I never get sick. Again, I have what they have diagnosed as an autoimmune disease, where my immune system is at risk, they say, and it's easier to get sick. Or
I'll set your mind at ease. There's no such thing as an immune system, so you can throw that.
Yeah,
that's more.
This is why I'm saying it this way. I know, I never, they tested me later and it came back negative, but the symptoms I had, they categorized that as that, right? So I'm just trying to say I have a lot of health problems in my time, but I've been very healthy for a long time. So it's healing means to become whole. So you do everything. I'm doing a lot of things to stay healthy. I'm not ever going to say, this. So I'll say for sure, this is the best thing you can do for your brain health by far. No question. That's indisputable, because I'll show you the results if people don't know yet. We haven't talked about.
Yeah. But, how about I was going to ask you.
But as far as health wise, I didn't do it for that.
How about like clairvoyance,
but I will say, like,
ESP?
I never get sick.
Right. Are you getting any more intuition or clairvoyance or ESP or, there's no such thing as synchronicities, or coincidences, but are you getting are you more tuned into the intuition and the heart now? Observably,
way more
psychic,
way more. I mean,
something like
that's what I'm saying. Like that could be a whole other conversation as far as the clairvoyance, because I mean, again, this is a longer thing, and I don't want to make it like too woo woo, but yes.
Oh, you can go woo woo. It's Space Busters, dude. This channel's woo woo as fuck, man. You can.
I know. So, okay. I mean, yes. I mean, if you want to know. Now, the reason I'm hesitating is because I don't know how much I want to say as far as I'm realizing, I've been what we would call clairvoyant since I was a child. I would have what they call precognition, and have dreams and dream. Again, I'm holding back because I don't want to make that. When I was a kid, I could see the energy field around us. I didn't know what it was, but I could see it better now than I can now. So I don't just see air, I can see with the light moving, around. And so even when I see stuff now, I go, yeah, but can I see it as well as I could when I was a kid? Because when I was a little kid, I also apparently had clairaudience, which has happened, which they say it's heightened hearing. and you can hear the highest frequencies. So the pineal gland is also not just a third eye, it's a third ear, they call it. It's a, it's a receiver. It receives and transmits. But more than even just an eye, you can hear. It's like, so, and again, I call it the supreme eye and the supreme ear. It's not a third anything. It's not a spare. It's the supreme. You can see whatever you want to see. So yes, can I see? This is what I'm trying not to talk too much, because again, and I'm gonna talk about it more in the future. But yes, what happened with me is that the screen opened, turned into the circle opened, and I began to be able to see things in there. And that's what happened. Like after about 6 months, I started to go like, oh, I can see two people on a balcony somewhere.
Yeah, you see pictures, man. It's a radio. Yeah, it's a television receiver. You can see images that you.
Yeah, and
hell yeah, man.
And there are so many examples of this. People talk about it. So much more people are learning to wear a blindfold and see. And I mean, I've seen more and more about it. They're teaching kids. They're teaching blind.
That's
people.
my friend, Dr.
So many
Edith
people
Chan.
can do
Yeah,
this.
they're doing that. That's my friend, Dr.
Yeah,
Edith
so
Chan.
many. I just saw one recently. A lady was demonstrating on a podcast. It's like she can see right in front of her. But again, I understood exactly what she's saying now, because now I understand it better. What she's talking about. Yeah, I have like windows here, and I have windows here. I'm a little worried. My battery might die.
Well, that's the other thing is like, it's not your all-seeing. It's not just your all-seeing eye, like your eye. It's your all-seeing eye, like me. It's the all-seeing me, not I. It's the all-seeing eye.
Exactly. And like I call it, a lot of times I've been referring to it for myself as I refer to that eye as the heart's eye, because it is green like the heart chakra. But this is the real center of us right here. This is the plane of inertia, the heart center, this area. This is where our control center. The brain is an organ in the body. These eyes, I say, these eyes are for the brain. These ears are for the brain. But in there, this is the heart's eye and the heart ear. When you feel things, and you feel and see things. Yeah,
that's amazing. So, and you're only a year in. You don't know in 2 years. You don't know what kind of crazy shit's going to.
Well, that's what's crazy, because every time this was my feeling about. This was my feeling talking to you and even doing the video, because I just released this video that people are seeing. But while I'm doing the video, I'm like, yeah, but this is old news. This is old news, because things advance so quickly. I have so much more to report. So the video is more like results after 11 cycles. But at the 13th, I mean, everything took off there too.
What changed?
And just to let you know,
what changed between 11 and 13? What's happened recently?
Okay, I'll tell you, because I'm ready to demonstrate this.
Well, we can do that. Yeah, you want to show it. But to me, the writing's crazy. Like if you want to show the writing, that's crazy, because
I know
for starters, like
so. Yeah, we didn't even talk about that yet.
Well, you're a right-handed person, right? So you could you throw or write like? Are you like retarded with your left hand normally? Or are you?
I mean, I don't like that word, but yeah,
I mean, like it doesn't work like your right hand. Like most people
I'm saying
really dexterous with one hand, and the other one's like,
I couldn't do anything with my left hand.
Yeah, but now
I did everything with my right hand. Everything with my right hand. I couldn't do anything with my left hand. And again, I have the progress to show. If I tried to try to write with my left hand, it looks worse than preschool. Just like everyone else. But because this is about developing specifically the right hemisphere of the brain, I decided, what I'm going to do? I'm going to try to just scribble then with my left hand and just exercise it. I started brushing my teeth with my left hand, and now I do both. I do left hand thing. And so I started to develop the left hand. And that's been, miraculous. And it's not just that it developed, it's that how quickly and easily it developed. So yeah, I'm just trying to speed through it. But I started drawing with my left. I could never draw. I'm an artistic person. I consider myself an artistic person, creative person. I've been, in that field, but I could never draw. And I wanted to draw. It'd be cool. Never painted, never draw. But as soon as I did it with my left hand, I could draw anything.
So those drawings
Anything.
that are those drawings
it's
in
like
the video you
simple
made, those are left-handed drawings then. That video you made, you're drawing
everything is with the left hand.
Can you draw right-handed now, or are you still not so good at?
It's coming along, but it's funny that like I really learned about the different hemispheres of the brain through this because I got to witness it really. So just really quick, the right hand is logical, thinking, analytical. So you want to do math with the right hand, and you can write notes fast, and it's the male, it's the masculine. It's like, let me just get this done. Think of it, so when I would think of drawing something, I'm trying to think of something to draw. And I'll be like, think how to do it. So if I try to do it with my right hand now, it still messes up because it goes like, I'm going to try to think. I'll do this. It's like, it's funny because it's almost like doing two siblings. I make the joke where I go, okay, you can do a little bit more. Or you can outline it, okay? But don't go crazy with it. And, you could color it in when it takes strength. So the left hand does it without thinking. It's creative. It's elegant. It's artistic. It's abstract. It sees the big picture. This sees the little details. So putting that in a practical way, you could draw the big picture with your left hand or paint the big picture. And then if you have to get little details, the right hand is good. So sometimes now I will outline what the left hand has already done. And I'm just laughing because I kind of like do tease it that way. I go like, all right, it's your turn. You get to try a little bit. It's like a younger sibling, So like, and then I start to, I'll sometimes outline it when I need to be able to press harder because this is the strong. I've just learned there's no such thing. This is what I want. My message to humanity, to everyone. There's no such thing as left and right-handed. There's no such thing as a dominant hand. We're supposed to develop both. They just do different things. That's all it is. This one's, strong, forceful. It's like masculine. This one sends energy. This one receives energy. This is what I say. This is the male. This is the masculine. This is the feminine. You put them together. This is the plug. This is the outlet. You put them together and you balance them. They just do different things. So this one is, creative and elegant, stylish, like the feminine energy. This one is strong, like forceful, but we're supposed to develop both. We're just supposed to do different things. So like if you're going to pick something up, like a crystal, you want to pick it up with your right hand. Or something foreign to you, you haven't touched, you want to pick it up with your right hand because it sends energy. That's why we shake hands. The right hand, we send energy. You don't want to just like get blasted because the left hand receives energy. So I learned that with this because, the right hand's like you try to think of it your way. The left hand doesn't think, it bypasses that. It really is connected to the universal mind. And
it's interesting what you're saying with the left hand being feminine and because that's what births the masculine, right? Everything comes out of the feminine.
Yeah.
And when you play music, your left hand on the piano, which would be the female, that's down in the bass and the chords, laying down the birth, and the right hand would be the technical melody, the fine, that's all coming out of the masculine. Like you're saying with the detail, the left feminine's putting down the bass and the groove in the bottom, the dependability, the mother.
Yeah.
Chords. On the guitar, the left hand's doing the chords and the notes and all that, but the right hand is really where the action's at. It's how you're picking, right? Like people, it's not really the left hand it's really the right hand on the guitar. So it's interesting what you're saying. And it was also interesting, like I was trying to tell you about, in the old days, it's starting to look like old Irish, I'm talking pre-Celtic. It used to be called Hebrew, Eber, or Chaldean Arabic, and it's written backwards. It's like left-handed from right to left, and suddenly you're doing that. I'm starting to think these ancient Irish druids, bards, the people following this, had their left brain or the right brain completely open. And that's why the original writing is backwards. It's because it just came all so, like you're saying, it seems natural, right? Like when we were all in school, even though our left hand prints great, or cursive, we had to remember how many years we had to sit there, those dumb lines, like writing.
Yeah.
But like you're saying, in a year, all of a sudden your left hand just like, right? It's just quick.
Yeah. And it was even faster than that in a year. It was, it's. But exactly, like, I'm dying to talk to you about this too, because you have asked about it, and I'm learning from you about the ancient Irish and all that. When you were talking about how they wrote with the left hand, and also Arabic, I'm planning on the next thing I'm going to do is I am going to learn how to write Arabic, by the way, because it's perfect. What I've learned, this is what I've learned from doing it both now, is that yeah, it is more natural. Like, okay, if you look at even the motion like this is like a pulling, right? This is like a nice, easy, smooth pulling. If you write this way with your left hand, look at my hand, it's a push. You kind of have to push. So look at the hand, even like drags here. This is why when I set out to write, I wasn't trying to, I'm going to write backwards. I just tried it with my left hand first, and I'm pushing along, and it was, not great. So then as I was falling asleep at night, I was like, well, I just kept going like this. What if I could just do it this way? Because this is how we write, right? Left to right, like this, right? Especially cursive and languages that connect, like Arabic, where they're connected. It's perfect for the left hand because you flow. Like a right hand, you can, print letters detailed. That's okay. But, with a cursive, you want it to flow together like this. And, okay, so I also saw recently a documentary on Leonardo da Vinci, because now I'm like even more interested in that. And one guy was posing the theory. He said, most likely it was because of the ink, smearing the ink, that he was probably, left-handed or whatever. I mean, I think he was ambidextrous. He could do both. But if you think, it made me think about that, the pushing and the pulling. Like his theory was he did that because of the ink, that if you write this way or this way, you're gonna rub the ink. But if you again, I don't know what ink and what instrument they're using, but to me it made complete sense. Even when I first did it, like I was always fascinated that Leonardo da Vinci could do that. Right after college, I was like so into that. I was like, wow, I can't believe, why did he do it? It was like just like anyone else. I was like, it's amazing, it's magical. Why did he do that? But as soon as I'm talking about the first paragraph I wrote, I was like, oh yeah, this is easier. Oh, this is why he's doing it. Because if like, just again, think of this. Like we write this way, you go like this, you go like this. If you go the other way, again, look at the hand. You start to write, it's not great. And then when we talk about what are the qualities of the left hand with the right hemisphere of the brain, it really does it without thinking. So if you're going to write a holy book and you're going to connect to you can really just let information come into you, and you can just write it naturally. So it's perfect for these guys who are doing these spiritual practices. They're so connected. And even before languages, let's just say, they're going to just start moving it this way naturally, and then they're going to it just comes in clear from here. This is the thinking one. This is, again, like I said, for math and like detail or like notes, I can do like fast printing. Like, again, we talk about that masculine energy. Like, I just get it done. I just want to get it done really fast. You're like, but
do you want to,
with the left hand, it's artistic and it flows nicely this way.
Yeah. Well, also pulling is a little, pushing's more force. Pulling's like going with the flow. I know what you're saying. Like, if you were writing right to left, like Arabic, right-handed, if it's ink, you're going to drag your hand through. So that's even more hard because you try not to drag your palm through, what you just wrote.
Yeah, especially.
But you're just going with the flow. I'm going to start this video with you doing that, but for the people who are like, this guy's full of shit, he could have faked that.
Yeah. Hey.
Like I told you, I don't want to make you do circus monkey tricks like that.
Yeah, I'll do it right now.
You said you were willing. Do you want to just show us a little bit?
Yeah, you want to do it right now? Yeah.
I'd love to, man.
Just give me a second and I'll set up the camera right here.
Yeah, thanks. Because I just want people to see, like, we're not fucking around here. This is the real McCoy.
Yeah, exactly. And it's
go ahead and set up.
Right now.
Yeah, so just write something right-handed to show.
Okay. So here's the right hand. This is how I normally write.
See, this makes sense too, because you're still kind of pulling with a,
Yeah, exactly.
You're right-handed.
So, okay. So this is cursive this way.
And then try to write that backwards with your right hand. I just want to see if you tried that.
Okay. So so this will be backwards with the right.
Mm-hmm. You'll probably have to print. You can print it instead of cursive if you want.
I can do all of it.
All right. Did your right hand writing get better as well, or is it still pretty much the same?
It did, but I had to work. It's funny. That's the other funny thing is that my printing and my writing was so terrible with my right hand that I have to now, like, focus. I'm like, come on, try to do it better with the right hand because the left hand's even better now.
I mean, I can't even write cursive anymore. The last time I tried, it looked like I was 4 years old. Like,
thank you.
Because
you know what? That's what was the challenge when I switched to cursive. Okay, so there we go. That's right hand. When I switched to cursive, I was like, I couldn't even remember how to do it with my right hand. That was another thing that was so miraculous that I was like, look, man, I couldn't even do it with my right, and now I'm doing it with my left. Okay, so that's right-handed that way. Okay, so this is, I'll print it too. I'll print it.
Oh, you can print backwards as well. Okay.
Yep. Anything.
This is just fascinating to me.
Crazy, right? I mean, again, like
I can't
try to do it fast.
I can't even do that with my right hand. You're screwed.
I tell you, everyone should practice this, though. You can do is practice. Look, I'm just talking to you while doing it, but you should just practice writing your name backwards then, because you're just looking for you're just trying to exercise the brain. Okay, so that's printing that way.
Yeah. So now let's
cursive that way.
Yeah.
Cursive that way, printing that way, and this is how I would print right-handed.
Yeah. Now let's see you do that left-handed.
Okay, now here's left-handed. See, the left hand cares about how it looks.
Yeah, I'm telling you, man, you need to take up the piano.
I will.
Keith Jarrett, he's one of the most famous jazzers. He called his left and right hand God 1 and God 2.
Nice.
He could play like syncopated different rhythms, different times, different melodies with this at the same time, like
really
complete independence of each other. Yeah.
But I believe it.
And he probably has what you have. He probably had his brain open like this.
Yeah, and it's just, again, this happened overnight for me. It wasn't like this before. Okay.
I mean,
so that's cursive that way?
Yeah, and let's see, go forward. Can you go forward with the left now?
Yeah, that's what's crazy. Okay, so then we go this way. Yeah, the only challenge is like switching right away because you just already went one way. Yeah.
That's
nuts.
I
can do a lot better.
And can you write both together, or have you tried that yet?
Yep. I'll do that for you too.
That's crazy.
Which is, to me, I mean, it's crazy, but I can. I'll do it right now.
I'd love to see that after this. After you do this line, just push the paper up a little bit so it so the bottom of the paper's in the middle of the camera.
Over a world. Okay. So that's that way with that hand. I mean, I can do it much better. Is that better?
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah. Okay, so then I'll print it too. So this is the, left to right. This is printing. And I can do it much better writing. Okay. Yeah, I just like to get faster and make it look better.
Well, it's still practice. You're not going to be like an expert right away. You haven't been doing it much, but
I can do it pretty good now. I mean, this is like live.
I mean,
you're right.
Read it,
but no, I wrote pages and pages as I think you've seen a little bit. Okay, so that's that way. Now I'll print it backwards with the left.
Well, that's okay. Like that's enough. Like to prove your point. I'd like to see you do the doubles. That would be great.
Okay. Okay, so now I'll get this way. So I did this way, this way, this way, this way, with both. So then we'll take 2 pens.
Holy shit, they're mirrored of each other. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pen messing up. Yeah, like exact same time, see? Like meaning each letter.
What happened? Have you tried going the same way with both hands, or is it like it feels more?
I've never tried that, but I'll try.
Let's see.
That's an interesting idea. That's one way. We'll go backwards. I've never done this, but you know.
It looks pretty good. It's better than I could do. Wow.
Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah. And yeah, I want to continue doing that with both. But yeah, that's the way it is. Like,
that's pretty incredible, man. That's really incredible. You
okay,
know,
while I have this, let me just show you something real quick.
Yeah,
for anyone that's like, I want this in the record for humanity. This part I'm going to say, like anyone studying the pineal gland or interested in it, I understand now a lot better what I'm seeing. And I'll show you how it works. So I drew some drawings just to show, just to demonstrate. But yeah, I don't know how this will go, but just real quick. But man, I'm ready for a full presentation. But this is what happened. Okay, after the 13th time.
Pull the paper a little left if you're going to draw. Pull the paper left and up.
Yeah, I will. Oh yeah, okay. So
there, yeah. Wow. Yeah, there we go. Perfect.
Yeah, you can see it. Okay, I just drew these for this so that you can see. Okay. After my you're right. On the 13th time, recently, about a month ago, I was doing the breathwork thing and a breathwork class and what happened was the face of a cobra appeared right in front of me. The face of a cobra. And I've learned now to hang in there with it, and not freak out with stuff you see, hang in there with it. So I saw the full face of a cobra right in front of my face. Okay. So then the next night, I had another one of these big, powerful Kundalini awakenings, experiences where like all the energy blasted into my brain and I could see the face of the cobra perfectly and the throat, everything. So then I went to the beach about a week later and the sun blasted at my face. And I saw the full picture of the cobra face, right? Reflecting, right? And the whole puzzle came together for me. And then I went, I see what I'm seeing. Every single thing I've seen from the light and every single thing I've seen with the cobra face and anything other thing I've seen, it all made sense to me. And if I could just really explain it really quickly. Okay. Imagine light. What's happening is light is projecting from behind the eyes, right? Behind the sphenoid bone. We have the sphenoid bone, which is like the bone behind the eyes, right? So imagine light is projected to the front of the face. Okay? What I'm seeing, what I would see is it starts off with like, say, here, you're looking in between. And I don't know if you could see it, but I have other pens for it. It starts with like a little thing and then say light around it, right? And then it gets wider, So there's light. Now remember, there's like a spot. Imagine a spotlight coming from the middle of the brain, like from the pineal gland, okay? A spotlight coming from behind these eyes. So you start to see different shapes, right? But what you start to see is like all these different shapes, and as more light is coming projected from the pineal gland. So you start to see things like, here's like a 5-pointed star. Here's a triangle, right? Sometimes it's like this, sometimes like this. Sometimes what I realize is it's the bones of the face. You see that the bones of the face, like from behind, light from behind the eyes. So you start off, you focus in between your eyebrows, right? all the different shapes are catching. Okay.
This is crazy because the old druidic female cults, they were the cult of Venus. Venus is the 5-pointed star. She's also the snake in a woman. The snake and the 5-pointed star of Venus are feminine. You've just drawn it. You've drawn a woman snake with a 5-pointed Venus.
Yeah. Well, good call. You're catching right on right away because, all the shapes that we see, all the animals that we see, they're, okay, if you can still see this, right? So the pineal gland is like, say, give or take, right around here, say. This is an angle of the face. I don't know if you can see it.
Yeah, I can see it.
Kind of light. But maybe a better one that's darker for this. But
I'll change the video. I can change the tint on the poster.
Yeah, I thought I had one that's more colored in on that one. But anyway, okay, so it's coming here. So you imagine a spotlight going like this. And I'll demonstrate it when I bring the camera back too, right? And then, you see, like here is where like your brow kind of makes the thing, right? So then what happens is you start to see, pen. You start to see these different, because the light is blasting from back here to here. So you start to see, this 5-pointed star. Now look. Okay. Yeah, look at this. This one's better. Okay. You see these like wings appear, right? These are the eyes in the face. Can you see?
Yeah.
Okay. The eyes are around here.
So that's the nose and the bridge. Yeah. Gotcha.
Yeah, here's the nose, and here's the thing, right? So now we've all seen this. This is like, and you see this with all these symbols they use. Okay? What you see is you get these wings effect. Because think of light is coming through here. So you get like, again, I got to switch to the left. You see light in the middle here. But you see, there's what the right hand can do. The right hand's good for like shading, coloring fast. Okay. So when I see this shape, say, like with light, this looks like an angelic. Imagine this flying on the wall. It's a shape of an angel. Yeah. Here are the wings, and this was common. You see, I tracked all the shapes, and I can find every shape in the face, the bones of the face. Now you see this emblem everywhere with the wings, right? Because it's in the shape of the sphenoid bone. So you see all these different, it's the Batman symbol. It's, Mini Cooper,
Yeah, it's everywhere,
wings, right? And then what happens is, look at this. Look at a pen where you can see it better. I'm just going to use this pen so it's darker. But look, so here again is the face. Can you see that somewhere?
Yeah.
Look.
Perfect.
Okay, look at even this shape. We see this everywhere. Like a saint, the saints.
Yeah.
Let's do both, right? That's again, light just coming back from the pineal gland here. So every single shape I've seen, you can track to, okay, I was seeing this one all the time, especially when I'm done with the secretion phase. Now, where is it? Okay, here. This one, it's like the hyperbola of the torus field.
I was just going to say the other one looks like the top of the hyperbola of a torus.
Yeah, so see, I would see this all the time. And then sometimes you see this.
Yeah, you're also getting your
like just grail. The top here. So here's the wings with the light at the top.
Yeah.
Here is the hyperbola shape. The shape's like an hourglass. But again, and then I was seeing eyes, right? Here are the eyes. But imagine now, light is coming from behind it. So I'm seeing my eyes. I'm seeing this sometimes. This here. Sometimes you see this shape. Sometimes you see the pointed star. Sometimes you see this. So then you see the shape of a cobra. What is the shape of a cobra? The reason you're seeing a cobra, and throughout history, that's always, you find that archetype throughout history. Look at this. This goes, okay, that's starting at the eye, right? Here's the bridge of the nose, right? The nose, the top, in between the eyes. Look at this shape. It goes over the eyes. These are the cheekbones, right?
Yeah, it's a heart.
Yeah, it's shaped exactly like they draw a heart, but even though the heart is nothing like that, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah, that's
right?
weird.
So I realized that's where it comes from. But because look, what I'm seeing is, so light in the middle, like blasting here. Again, it's like greenish yellow. Then I see two eyes here. Right? I mean, I'm just doing this really fast here. Eyes here, my eyes. And you see right around the skull, it's the exact shape of a cobra. These are the cheekbones. This is the nose. Okay. So here are some lines here. Here's that hyperbola shape. Then it goes down to the nose here. And also, what do you see? Like, look. Let's come back to this one. This is also an elephant. The elephant we see. Here is the trunk of the elephant, our nose. Yeah. Here are the eyes. These are the ears of the elephant. You see? That we see. And then, yeah, so here are the eyes that we see. I just draw both now, but. So here, so the eyes of the elephant are here, and here's the trunk, and here are the ears. And then the face of the cobra. Yeah, look. Okay, so here's the face of the cobra. Here are the eyes of the cobra. And these are the lines of the cheekbones going over the eyes. So now imagine you blast light on these bones.
From the inside, yeah. So you're
from the inside. So it looks just like that heart shape of the cobra. And then here was an interesting thing when you said the heart. I was seeing this shape. I wrote it in my notebooks, even in the video. All the time, I couldn't understand why I was seeing this. But with a curve right here. It's in the video. I drew it a bunch of times. It was very specific. I was like, oh, that's interesting. It's like the heart. It's like an arrow through the heart.
Yeah, I was just going to say it looks like Cupid's arrow through the heart.
Right?
Yeah.
Exactly. So I was like, that's interesting. For a long time, I couldn't understand, why am I seeing this? I would see this. An L. Just at this angle, exactly. I was like, why am I seeing an L? What is this message to me? But look, it's the catching the eye like this. It's just light catching it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then look, you turn that over, you see that upside down heart shape. You see this everywhere in ancient, on all this shape. We see it everywhere. It's that upside down heart. So look, this is the nose. These are the bones of the nose, right? It goes to something like this, right? So now imagine light doing that teardrop shape, just like this. So this is why sometimes the light is in this perfect, you see? Then you put it all together and you see all these. It also looks like an owl because you see this too. Like energy going like this.
Yeah.
And I even have a drawing like that where you see, it looks just like an owl. So it's an owl, it's a cobra, and it's an elephant. And then just depending on the light coming in and projecting through, you see like the different things. Like it's coming through the prism. And another thing that I learned, and I have it saved over here, I could show you. Actually, I will. It's right here.
It kind of looks like gray aliens too. It looks a little bit like
yeah. There's that too. So then look, if you can see, right here. This is the brain stem. they draw it as a cobra, like this opening. And I highlighted this at the very top of the spinal cord, where the cord inserts into the underbelly of the brain. The brain stem widens, akin to the flared hood of the cobra. The brain stem bulges and forms a series of small pouches. This is where the relatively narrow bandwidth of the spinal cord starts to diversify and increase in synaptic complexity as it merges into the brain. So the brain stem does this. We also have, we have the cobra here, we have a cobra here, and then it continues down the spine at each chakra. It flares out and I can see that as well. In the right state, you can look down and see the different, it's just all these cobra shapes. And it just came, for me, it's such a breakthrough because, you see a face in front of you, like you said, an alien or something like that. You're freaking out, a cobra. But now what happened was all the pieces come together. And there's something else about that. Now, I'll switch the camera now. I just want to see something, but I'll show you. Okay, we'll come back now. Hold on a second. Okay. So so I'm speeding through this, but I can do it in a much
no worries,
slower way and clearer way. But what I'm saying is, for me, it's a huge. Turn this off. Get out of the way. Okay. You see here. Yeah, I would start to see the light coming around and down. And I'm realizing, here's the face of the cobra, and here are the eyes. So what I realized when I saw this, the realization was, do you know how in all those ancient Egyptian things, they put the cobra here? There's a cobra coming out of the head, right? Well, I never learned the reason for that, but I know it now. I knew it immediately, intuitively, because what happens is, as I even discussed on the audio before, around the 11th time, I began to have sight up here. It creates a pathway up here. So where before we focus everything here, right? So I look at it like levels, not just levels of consciousness, levels of development, levels of the pineal gland development, right? The light developing. So it starts here and you start to see these different things here. But and they call this the third eye. Well, they call this the fifth eye. And seventh back too, actually. I did learn that in the book too, where this is the fifth eye they refer to. And I'm just talking about it as pathways. So you have like a beam of light here, and you have good vision all around. You can go both ways. You can see this way and you can see down. But what happened was I started to get vision up here, pathways up here. And at the 13th time, when I had really good vision up here, then the cobra appears. You see? Then the full cobra. So once you have development here, this is when the full cobra comes. And there are actually different levels of it. And it's like the king. It crowns you like a king cobra. You see? So then there's also a famous story where Buddha goes under the tree. When he becomes enlightened, he's under the tree and he sees a cobra appear to him. Oh, a great rain falls. A great rain falls. And then a cobra appeared and wrapped around him 7 times. This is the story. 7 times until he saw the full face of the cobra, and the cobra's hood appeared and protected him. It wrapped around him and protected him. So I've been reading into that. I'm like, oh, here, I just understand it now because I could see it from inside here. So for the first time, we're getting a look from inside the skull, projecting out. I run into the light, see the sphenoid bone, the eyes, and this shape of the skull. And I have pictures of the shape of the skull too I could show, but I know we're running on time. But anyway, it was a huge thing for me because that grounded me inside the skull now. So instead of me feeling in this woo-woo way, like, oh my gosh, I'm seeing the face of a reptile, I'm seeing the face of an alien, like you said, because you will see it, but you're really looking into the mirror, your etheric reflection, what they call it, even, into the ether, into the energy field. You just blasting light. Light comes in here, or in the face, and you see the outline of a cobra, and you see your own eyes looking back at you, and you can point the light anywhere. So now I can see up here, and I can see down the spine. And there you go.
This is fascinating. Yeah. Because we had some kids at Acapulco 2024 who they could read behind their head. I could hold my cigarette pack up behind their head.
I've seen a lot of that, yeah.
Through their foot and stuff. So, and yeah, a lot of the ancient symbolism. Yeah. But because now you're seeing, our eyes are in front of our face, so they see that way. But now you're seeing from an eye in the back of your head, seeing inside your head, which we all 100% have a blank space.
And they always said that I learned that about the pineal gland, where it can see to the sides. It can also, there's in the back here, right above the thing, you can see back here, and you can see here, across here, and you can also see down. I've seen lectures about that. Again, before this, it can see down, up, because it's just like light can project in, and it can reflect light. But yeah, I've seen so many things now where so many people are blindfolded, and I watched it recently on a podcast. She's reading things from the back, and she kept saying I have window here. It's not as good here, but in front, again, all blindfolded, and they're teaching people to do it. And I just want to say to the world, every single person that has any psychic abilities, any intuitive abilities, you know what they all say, including me? We can all do it. We can all do it. Every single person says you can do it because you can train yourself to do it. And with the secretion process, it's like a faster way to maybe open up. But there are many ways to open it up, plenty of different ways. And we can all do it, is what I'm trying to say. We just need to train to do it. And I'm learning all kinds of things now. I just got a blindfold. And I was like, man, I should have got this a long time ago. I just got it a few days ago, a blindfold. I'm already messing around. I'm like,
well, that's beautiful, man.
That stuff.
I think this is a great place to leave this now, because that's a great message. I wanted people to see that, and thank you. So I don't know how public you're going. Do you want to tell people your Telegram and YouTube channel? Do you want people to contact you about this, or what's?
Absolutely.
Where are you at? Tell everybody where to find you, and I'll put the links in the description.
Okay, thanks. And I will send you the links after this. But for now, you can go to the Sage Den, the YouTube channel. You'll post the video from there, right? So that you can see, I'm going to start posting a lot more now on the YouTube channel. And I'm going to start a community on one of these school or one of these other ones. And I'll be answering questions. I'll be posting all kinds of information. And I'm also going to have an audio show, podcast, where I talk about all this and consciousness, how to open up the creativity on both sides, both hemispheres of the brain, all around awareness, meditation, breath work. Anyone that has questions about the sacred secretion or the whole process, the Kundalini, I'll be talking about that now more and more. And I will post the community. I'll send you a link to the community. And I'm also going to do one-on-one training, which I do already with meditation, breath work, and awareness, general awareness, and ways to stay focused, ways to stay present. Really easy, practical. I focus on practical ways in our society. If people are going to learn all the other stuff, the spiritual stuff, there's plenty of people to teach you that, and those people are going to find that. But I want everyone to do it. Children, older people, just people who aren't into meditation, breathwork, all that stuff, spirituality. Whatever you want, I'm now going to be doing one-on-one teaching, and I'll be talking about it a lot more. And I'll send you the links.
Oh, that's amazing. Yeah, we'll stick them in there, man. And thanks again, brother, for reaching out, man. It's really great you took the time to talk and reach out. It's a pleasure to make a new friend, and I'm sure a lot of our people are going to be reaching out too. So I'm going to
and I feel like maybe you could talk for
to this breath by understanding that you're taking all the energy in those first three centers. How much energy does it make to create another life form? That's a lot of potential energy, yes? And instead of releasing it out, we want to draw it up into the brain. Are you with me still? Now, you have a bone down here at the base of your spine called your sacrum bone. Did you ever see it? It looks like an upside down triangle. You got it? And on the plateau of that sacrum bone, that upside down triangle, sits the spinal column. And those spinal vertebrae go right up into this ivory cavern called the skull. And it houses the most delicate system in the body, the central nervous system. And the central nervous system controls and coordinates all other systems in the body. It's the wires that run the machine, and here's the big storehouse of information and regulation. And all happens up here. Are you with me still? Now, inside this closed system, the brain makes fluid to bathe the brain and the spinal cord, and that fluid is called cerebrospinal fluid. Cerebral spinal fluid has some functions. It creates buoyancy for the nervous system to kind of float. It has a protective measure if there's trauma to the brain or to the skull. The fluid protects it against its bony edges and kind of slushes around in there. It serves as a transport system to bring nutrients and neurotransmitters and hormones and chemicals to different parts of the nervous system. And its very substance enhances conductivity or electrical charges in the brain, so it's really important. You got it? Now that bone down here called your sacrum bone works with your skull. When you inhale and you take a breath, that bone called your sacrum bone kind of flexes back like this. And when you inhale, the sutures of your skull open up just a little bit. And when the sutures of your skull open up and the sacrum bone flexes back, that cerebrospinal fluid drains down because there's more volume. You with me? And when you just naturally exhale, the sacrum kind of flexes forward and the sutures close. And when that happens, it closes the system. And when the sacrum flexes forward, it propagates a little wave and it pushes the fluid up. So the mechanism of inhaling and exhaling kind of moves this cerebral spinal fluid very slowly. And it can start at the base of the spine. It can go all the way up to the brain, and there's 4 ventricles in the brain, 4 openings. It goes through all those different chambers, goes around the brain, comes back down. It takes about 12 hours for one molecule of cerebrospinal fluid to make that journey. So you flush your brain twice a day. You with me? Now, I looked this up, and if you look at cerebrospinal fluid, it's basically proteins and salts that are in solution. Now, if you take a protein molecule and you take a salt molecule and you drop it in a solution, they all of a sudden develop charges. Are you with me still? So cerebrospinal fluid has charged molecules in it. Now, what would happen if you blew all the air out of your nose all the way? And when you blew all that air out of your nose, you locked down your perineum, the muscles you use to eliminate front and back, the muscles you use for intercourse. If you were to squeeze those muscles, pull your belly button to your spine, and lock your core right here and squeeze like that, if you were to do that, which way would that cerebrospinal fluid move? Up. And if you were to couple a very slow, steady breath with the intention of pulling that energy from these lower centers all the way up to that pineal gland in the back of your brain, and we'll talk about that in a second. If you could couple your breath with the contraction of these muscles, as you breathe and you squeeze, you start moving this cerebrospinal fluid up towards the brain. How many people understand? Now, engineers and scientists in this audience and physicists will tell you if you take a charged molecule or charged molecules and you do this, when you accelerate a charged molecule, it creates an external field called an inductance field. And it moves right in a circular fashion in the direction of the movement of the charged molecules. Are you with me still? So if you moved several charged molecules all at once, that inductance field, as it moves, could literally draw energy from these centers up towards your brain. This breath is not a passive breath. This is a very engaging breath. And it takes a little passion, some presence, and the desire to want to have the experience. And it takes a little practice coordinating this one slow, steady breath with the contraction of these muscles that you use in other ways, and I'm asking you to coordinate it with the breath. And if you get a little passionate and you start doing it and you have a target, that pineal gland, one slow, steady breath, you're pulling that energy up, pulling up your perineum, pulling in your lower abdomen, locking down your core, and as you squeeze like this, as you draw the breath up, which way is that fluid going? And you're creating that field. You pull it up into your chest. When you get it up into your chest, your shoulders come down. You lock your entire torso, all these muscles, and you squeeze like that. You bring it through your throat. You straighten your spine. You finish your breath right on that pineal gland, right between the back of your throat and the back of your head. And that's your target. Are you with me still? And if you keep doing this and you start accelerating that fluid, that energy begins, as it moves, the energy begins to move up like that, and the sympathetic nervous system switches on. And once that sympathetic nervous system switches on, there's an arousal. And that energy is not going to be moving out. The sympathetic nervous system is going to merge with the parasympathetic nervous system, and that energy is going to be released up into the brain. Are you with me still? And there's a gate at the brain stem called the thalamic gate. And that gate opens wide up. And that energy moves right up to the brain. Now, once the energy makes it to the top of the head, all that energy that was stored in the body, the 95%, is now moving up towards the brain. And as the energy moves up towards the brain, you get a positive charge here and a negative charge here. And you have a positive charge here and a negative charge here. What do you have? A magnet. And all of a sudden, you start producing this external electromagnetic field. And that energy goes right up to the pineal gland. And it signals that pineal gland, and the brain goes into gamma brainwave patterns. And the person is feeling an awakening. They're feeling a euphoria. They're feeling a release of energy into their brain. Now, when they feel that feeling, what do you think they're going to say? Oh, I don't think I want any more of that. The person's going to say, I'm going to go get me some more of that. I like that feeling. And you're pulling that energy like drawing fluid up a straw right to your brain. Now listen closely. I looked this up. I didn't get on social media and say, does anybody know anything about the pineal gland? I didn't do that. And I did the research. And just like homing pigeons, just like all reptiles, just like all mammals, there's tiny little calcium carbonate crystals in the pineal gland that are stacked up on top of each other in the human being, rhombohedrons. And they're stacked up on top of each other. And the research says that it has piezoelectric properties. What does that mean? I looked it up. When you apply a mechanical stress to these crystals, the mechanical stress begins to create an electrical charge in the crystal. And the compression begins to polarize the ends of the crystal with a positive charge and a negative charge. And when you polarize the crystal with a positive charge and a negative charge, what do you have? A magnet. And all of a sudden, as you compress those crystals, the mechanical stress creates an electrical field. And that field actually expands until the crystals can't stretch any longer. And then the field reverses. And when the field reverses, the field actually exerts a pressure against the crystals again that causes the crystals to expand. And the next thing you know, you have a little radio receiver. How many people understand? And you switch on the brain's radio receiver, and now the brain can tune in to frequencies beyond the senses. And that is the mystical gland. And the research says it's a transducer. How do I know? I looked it up. I didn't go on social, I looked it up. Transducer, like a television antenna. That's what it said. Taking energy and information in one form and turning it into pictures and images, meaning. And that's why it's called the third eye, because you have an inner vision that's more real than the outer world. The brain now is picking up information from the field, and it's transducing it into profound imagery, a mystical, transcendental moment. And we do the breath. When you finish that breath, I'm going to ask you to finish it right on that pineal gland. That's your target. And I'm going to ask you to hold your breath. Now, this is not torture. I'm not asking you to hold your breath to see how long you can hold your breath. If you're thinking about how long you're holding your breath, you're not doing it. I want your attention as you hold your breath. I'm going to ask you to lift this up, pull this in, lock this down, straighten your spine, drop down, and pump and squeeze a little bit more. And I just want you to keep squeezing and pushing that fluid right up against that target there. And I'll say exhale, and then you feel. And we go get it again. I don't feel like it is not going to do anything. I'm too old, nothing will happen. You got to leave that behind you. You got to get lost in the act. And when that energy moves, I have had it happen thousands of times. It is big. It's not like, ooh, I'm an energy worker. It's not like that. It's like, holy heck. It's a train that's moving. And it goes right up to the brain. And that energy is being released in the brain. And the brain goes into those gamma brainwave patterns. Very high gamma brainwave patterns. How many people understand?
So today we're going to practice third eye activation breathing techniques. Third eye, my friends, also called pineal gland. And make sure you stick around until the end of the video because we'll give you a technique to make this breathing exercise and your meditation way more effective. Pineal gland, let's see it from the scientific perspective first. So pineal gland is a gland around your hypothalamus region. Now what does it do? It responds to light and darkness. So the science tells us now that the main purpose of the pineal gland is to create melatonin. What does melatonin do? Melatonin helps you go to sleep. We'll look at the pineal gland from the yoga perspective. From yoga perspective, pineal gland is also called your third eye. Third eye helps you connect to your higher self. It helps you bring your awareness up. It helps you connect to the antenna. You can think about you have an antenna to connect with the universe. And mostly what happens is when you're looking through these eyes, you're distracted in this world. So the idea is to close the eyes and be able to connect with the inner eye. So these 3 breathing exercises is going to boost your intuition and help you connect with the universe, and your life is going to become like a flow. Let's begin with alternate nostril breathing, Nadi Shodhan Pranayama. The exception here is we're going to add some bandhas, some root lock and solar plexus lock to it. So always we start with Vishnu Mudra. Cover your right nostril as you breathe in from the left. Breathe in for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. As you hold for 4, you're going to engage your root chakra and pull your diaphragm in. So we'll begin. Inhale for 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold for 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale for 6, 5, 2, 1. Hold. 2, 1. Inhale from right nostril now. For 4, 3, 2, 1. Hold. Engage. Exhale left. 6. Hold. 2. Inhale left nostril for 4. Hold. Engage. Exhale left. Exhale 6. Hold for 2. Inhale right. Hold. Engage. Exhale 6. Hold for 2. Breathing in for 4. Hold. Engage. Exhale 6. Hold for 2. Inhale right. Hold. Engage. Exhale 6. Hold for 2. Breathing in for 4. Hold. Engage. Exhale 6. Hold for 2. Breathing in for 4. Hold. Engage. Exhale 6. Hold for 2. Inhale left nostril for 4. Last one. Exhale right. And letting go. Sitting in meditation for 30 seconds. Just simply observe your breath coming in and out. Amazing job, my friends. So with the alternate nostril breathing, Nadi Shodhan Pranayama, what we did is we balanced our feminine and masculine, the Ida Nadi and the Pingala Nadi, and we activated our Sushumna Nadi. So now we're going to go into the second exercise called diaphragmatic breathing. So again, in the same way, we'll breathe in as we hold the breath. We're going to engage our root chakra and solar plexus. You're going to pull the root chakra, perineum muscles up, and you're going to pull the diaphragm up. So similar to alternate nostril breathing, but here we're breathing from both nostrils at the same time. Again, breathing in for 4. Hold for 4. Engage. And exhale 6. Now hold the breath out for 2. Inhale 4. Hold. Exhale 6. Hold. Inhale 4. Exhale 6. Hold 2. Inhale 4. Now we're going to inhale for 6. As you hold the breath, engage the root chakra and your solar plexus for 6. Exhale for 8. And hold for 4. Inhale 6. Hold 6. Exhale 8. Hold 4. Inhale 6. Hold 6. Exhale 8. And hold. Inhale 6. Hold 6. Exhale 8. Hold. And now increasing the length of the inhale to 8. Slow, long, deep breath coming in. Now holding for 8 as you engage the solar plexus and your root chakra. Exhale again for 8. And hold the breath out for 4. Inhaling for 8. Hold 8. Exhale 8. Hold 4. Inhale 2 more times. 8. Hold 8. Exhale 8. Hold 4. Last one, inhale 8. Inhale all the way into your belly, fill up your chest. And now engage the root chakra, solar plexus. Let the energy go up. Amazing job. Exhale. Allow the breath to come in and exhale normally. Sit in meditation and watch your breath and allow the energy to rise up through your spine. Beautiful job, my friends. Now, the last one we're going to engage is the humming bee breath, Brahmari Pranayama. So now we have gotten the energy to rise up. Now we're going to utilize this energy and start to buzz. We're going to create a vibration around your hypothalamus area, and this is going to help vibrate your pineal gland. And you'll see the benefits as you sit in meditation after 6 times of humming. So with humming, we bring the thumb into your protruding part of the ear. Cover the eyes with your first 2 fingers. Inhale. And on exhale, create a humming sound. So now we're going to sit in meditation for 2 minutes. And before you sit in meditation, I just want to give you a little bit of instructions. So where is the third eye? So you're going to draw an imaginary line between your ears. Go to the center of that line and go up 2 inches. As you close your eyes, you bring your awareness over there. That's your third eye. Keep your awareness in the darkness. You might see some lights. You might see some shades of different colors, sometimes white light flickering. Whatever it is, it's your experience, nothing to judge. Just continue looking into the darkness as you close your eyes in that region. And the second thing you're going to do is Khechri Mudra. So as you're sitting in the meditation, you're going to engage your tongue, roll your tongue, and bring the tip of the tongue to roll and touch the roof of the mouth. And we sit in Chin Mudra, looking into the third eye, and just observe your breath coming in, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120, Beautiful, my friends. So as you practice this meditation more and more, try stretching the duration to 5 minutes. And as you practice this every day for 30 days, you'll start noticing that your intuition has gone all the way up, and you'll start feeling like you're not taking decisions, but the decisions are made through you by the universe, by the higher intelligence.